Bills at Browns this Sunday at 1 p.m. 3 players for the Bills have been officially ruled out, those being Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt, while just Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. And for Hardman, this is him making his way back from IR. There is no other game day designations, which does mean Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford are all set to go for Sunday. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pregame does get underway at 7 a.m. on Sunday. We'll also carry all the way to kickoff at 1 p.m., where we'll then hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And stay tuned. Speaking of Sal, he is going to join the show at 5 p.m. Around the rest of the league, some wide receiver news. The Jets are shutting down Garrett Wilson for the season, and Drake London is questionable for Atlanta. He's dealing with a PCL injury, though he is expected to play. According to head coach Raheem Morris, the Falcons are at Arizona on Sunday. But we do have 2 games on Saturday to get the weekend underway. Washington hosting Philadelphia at 5. Then at 8:20, the Bears will host the Packers. To the Sabres, they are on a 4-game win streak. They are off today, but will have a weekend back-to-back. Tomorrow hosting the Islanders at 5. Then on Sunday at New Jersey, that game will get going just after 7. The college football playoff gets underway tonight. It is, though, just 1 game. Oklahoma hosting Alabama at 8. Tomorrow will be the rest of the first round. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. Then at 7:30, James Madison at Oregon. And in college hoops, UB women down in Texas versus Tarleton State at 8:30. And you can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520, with pregame beginning at 8. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water, just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker, and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it, and
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mobile rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
Hi there. Happy Friday from the draft room in Buffalo. It's our 4th and final, I guess, for now, visit on our Buffalo football happy hour tour. We're at the draft room here all afternoon, just right adjacent to the arena, or almost, just the parking garage in between us. You have a chance here today to enter to win a Josh Allen jersey. No purchase necessary. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly, 21 plus. They have Sega.
Yes.
And there's no line.
There's no line. The 2 controllers are there. The game was paused when I walked past it. I picked up a controller and got the game to resume and got a couple guys to skate around a little bit and even got a couple shots on goal off. There was no opponent because it's set up for 2 players. So the one team was just standing there.
How did you not win?
I still couldn't.
You still couldn't score.
I didn't remember. I don't know the buttons.
No.
I don't know. Really what I want to know is I remember there being a button for like the cross check in the face. That was my favorite move on NHL 93 or 94, which I think it's one of those 2. I'm not enough of a connoisseur to know which one it is.
It's not NHL.
It's not?
No, right? It's that's EA Sports.
That's what I'm saying. That's what that is.
I don't think so. I think that's the game from Swingers.
Right. That's that game.
I think that's unofficial.
No,
there's no logos.
Huh.
NHL 94, which was probably my first adult, adult favorite video game, had the – no, there are logos actually in that. Yeah, there are. There's a logo at center ice.
Yeah.
Quebec.
There weren't names under the players.
But when you score, their names come up.
Yeah. So I think that's the.
Okay, well, maybe there were two.
It certainly looks like the game I remember, but I didn't know how to play it really functionally
All right.
at all.
That's the game from Swingers.
Yeah, right. Look
they
at
make
Wayne.
Gretzky
look
cry.
At Wayne. Look at Wayne. Look at his legs. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's what I was looking
what
for.
playing.
How to crack somebody's head open so that little pool of blood spills out of their head while they're laying there on the ice quivering. Nice league, by the way.
I wonder if I'm wrong here. I might be wrong. I'm confused. I think maybe what the game I remember playing looked different than that, and I think it was 94 because I would have been 22 with my own apartment, and that's all I did was take San Jose and Pat Falloon to the Cup,
Right.
and then they beat Pittsburgh in my world, and then I just couldn't wait to see what happened. You want to win, but you also want to see what it does when you win.
And it was 10 seconds.
It's 10 seconds. they skate the cup around center. All the players are there together. They skated around center ice for 10 seconds, and it's done.
I remember there being a still shot, although I might be combining Super Tecmo Bowl memories in here too, because it's all the same era, right? Of a parade, someone in the jersey color with the cup in a convertible and some confetti flying, and then the screen goes dark. I feel like I remember that from this. But this is, Swingers was NHL 93 or 94. I don't remember which one. I think 93 because they made Gretzky's head bleed, and I think by 94 they had taken that out.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big controversy.
Okay.
Because I guess they didn't want people out there, playing a game that's supposed to promote hockey, allowing you to split the best player in the world's head open and have him twitch on the ice because
promote violence. But was that even different then?
Right. But anyway,
does it surprise you or disappoint you that I never cared about that? I just wanted to score.
Yeah. No, it doesn't surprise me. And I hope that it doesn't surprise you from me from that era. That the thing I most remember is what button is it to do the cross? And I remember the guy you would do the cross check with, one of his legs would sort of kick out when you did it too. It was this weird move, just and the guy would go down in blood, and it was great fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That San Jose. This is fun to think about. We should probably change the subject at some point, but it's fun to think about because. I picked San Jose because they were the worst. They were new. Mm-hmm. Or they might not have been the worst. This game you were playing has Anaheim in it.
Okay.
And so you had Anaheim, Ottawa, still Quebec, still Hartford for that little span in the early 90s before Hartford moved and Quebec moved. But you had the expansion teams by then. Not all the way to Tampa, right? Or when's Tampa? Tampa's the same? I don't know. I don't need to bounce down.
I don't remember, but I want to go. When we get to a break, I'm going to go look to see what – I did not think till I should have. The console was right in front of me, and the game cartridge is, sitting there plugged into it. It'll say on there which iteration of the game it is, but I didn't think to look.
They really went hard in the NHL with expansion in those years, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They put in a whole bunch of new teams.
Yeah.
And we have a couple relatively new ones in the last few years, but all right. Well, that's exactly in our line of sight here.
I know. I want
games. I want action.
Yeah.
I want to bet it.
I remember one time being so grievously hungover with a friend of mine after a very long night that we got up. We would play this game all the time. There were no women in sight in our lives at this point because we were playing. We were addicted to this game. We'd go out to a bar for a few hours. We want to go home and play NHL. Yes, right. So I've got an apartment and we're playing this game. And some morning we woke up after getting home at Lord knows 5 a.m. or whatever, and woke up and didn't have the strength to play the game. And my friend said, "Well, we just put on a simulated game." And so we put a simulated game on and just watched it, lying there, one of us on the couch, the other one in a recliner or something. It was pathetic.
That's, I think, what everybody does now. No one plays video games. You just watch them.
Right. We were ahead of our time.
I think so, yes.
Me and Big Mike Cry. We were way ahead of people.
With football, I liked coach mode. I didn't need to throw and hit and pass. I could run it. I just wanted to
call the plays.
Manage it. Yeah, call the plays.
Yeah.
Build the roster. That's kind of always been my sensibilities with sports. Like, I don't really want to play. I just want to captain it.
Yeah.
So anyway, here at the draft room, they have that. If you see somebody in shorts, it's actually not me. I was not dog enough for shorts today.
Yeah.
I have like 3 coats, and if people come here and open that door to your right, I'm going to put them all on. Because as soon as that door opens, it's just like 20 degrees colder.
And it really got cold. Yes, that's right.
Football Friday. Sunday, 10.5, 41.5. We'll talk to Sam Panayotovich, who might even be like around the corner by the time he comes on, because he's on his way to Buffalo for the night. And then he's going to Chicago in the morning, where his family is and his friends, and going to the Bears tailgate. I heard him talking about this yesterday. Like, he read I mentioned to Joe Ostrowski, he read all the food. It sounded extravagant for this tailgate, but when does he have to leave? It's a night game at least, but still, like, he's going to have a quick turnaround tomorrow.
That's a 10-hour drive, depending on weather, I think, or 9 or 10.
9.
It's a haul.
Been 9 for me.
Yeah.
Chicago is always 9 for me, but it's been a while. Not that things really have changed. I mean, with all the advances in technology,
you can drive faster now than you could back then, I think. Probably.
A little, not legally that much. Maybe you cut a few minutes off of it. Let's talk about last night's football game. We're always here every Tuesday. Well, not literally, I guess, lately, but Tuesdays, reverse AFC power rankings. That's our world. No Kansas City. What is Denver? What is New England? Like, what is this? Mike Dempsey's coming on today. What is Jacksonville? Houston, we saw. Like, the context is the AFC. Winning the Super Bowl, of course, is the goal. I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, that's obvious. But most of the time, almost always, this is about getting there. Hardly, it seems, what is it? Is it superstitious, or is it just like something else where we don't ever get to the NFC?
We haven't really graduated to who would you like to play in the Super Bowl. That's right.
No.
We don't, because they haven't been there in so long. I don't think I don't know if it's superstition or if it's just, whatever. Just, we know the AFC teams. We've been, at this level the Bills have been at for 5 years now. And like, let's deal with that house first before I got to worry about who I'm going to see from over there. I think, if the Bills had been to the Super Bowl and lost already a couple of times in this era, or even one time, I think that might open the door more readily to contemplate Rams, Seahawks, Eagles, whomever. But right now, I don't even really think about it a lot. The one thought I did have watching last night before Seattle came back was, I'm going to put Seattle over there. All right, here's Darnold again, 2 interceptions. They're down 16 points in the fourth quarter, and he's doing the thing that he did last year, except it's a little earlier. Here's a good team in his face, and he threw 4 picks the last time they played him. They still almost won, but still 4 picks, 2 more last night, and then bingo bango, he played incredible down the stretch of that game and into overtime and ended up winning the game. So I'm not inclined to sort of put Seattle over there. Like, they're to me a bona fide contender along with the Rams. And probably the Eagles, too, I suppose.
You didn't mention your buddy Shaheed, who they don't win the game without him. That punt return, that game's over. It's 30-14, mid-fourth. That game is it's the Rams. Like, nobody's thinking about a comeback there. But you get the punt return, and then he makes another play on offense. Incredible to me. Not incredible. Unfortunate for you that you didn't get the points.
I know.
For Shaheed on the punt return.
I guess that makes sense.
That happens.
I didn't really know how it works, but I saw the punt return and thought, like, well, that helps. But no, not really, because Seattle's special teams and defense gets those points for the return touchdown.
So it's an amazing win. I mean, that's an all-time great game. If you're a fan, like, you're there, you'll never forget that game, maybe. I guess you have to have the rest of the season to not upset you. for this to be
was
true.
An incredible game, but just like it often happens in an incredible game, incredible outcome, there is, is there mystery about it? It's another Skyref day. You know, like you've got this thing with the 2-point conversion. I mean, sure, shame on the Rams for not falling on the ball or picking up the loose ball or whatever they could have done to prevent that.
Almost no time to.
But yeah, to see it play out that way, and I've said it all year. I've said it a lot, but I know one point earlier this year there was a really bizarre call in a game that I think everybody was talking about, and my thought was, Bills fans, just wait. Like, this is going to happen to us. Hopefully it'll be for the good, not the bad. Maybe last week in New England was a little version of that, right, with how quickly the Cooks play was reviewed by SkyRef, but the Boutte play earlier was not, and that stood. The Bills play didn't. And now in this, you've got, they're lining up for the kickoff, right? I mean, they're just on to the next thing. And like, hold on.
I didn't even notice that.
Backward pass, it's a good, I think we'd all like to know. I would like to know. I don't know. I don't speak for anyone else. Just exactly what the parameters are of when and how SkyRef can be deployed. It's still a mystery. I guess they want it that way, but
they do. It's not coming. Well, if it is, don't believe it.
Right.
If they tell you what the rules are, don't believe them. That's how I felt about this thing the whole time. Because last year we had Darnold at the Rams playing for Minnesota in a late season night game, and he had his head twisted around on a play in the end zone that didn't count because they told us that it was not reviewable. Of course it is. Like anything they want to have be reviewable will be.
Right. They want to say that they cannot go back and call a penalty. What at least this is what I understand the stance to be anyway. I don't know if this is in writing anywhere, but the way it seems like it gets explained in games is that SkyRef can tell the officials, pick up the flag, no foul, but they cannot say throw the flag, there was actually a foul there. But I've told this story many times. Like a week or two after this Darnold in the end zone example you're citing, the exact same situation happened on Monday Night Football, and they did not throw a flag. It was same penalty, right? Head, grabbing the head, hitting the head, or face mask of the quarterback, and there wasn't a flag, and SkyRef told them to call a penalty, and it got discussed, and the rules analyst basically was scared to say anything. But Joe Buck was like, I thought you couldn't do that. So that was the first example of the whole thing being sketchy. And I don't know that last night has to be sketchy. I mean, I think, I guess they got the call right.
Well, that's the other side of that. I liked Kevin Kelly, who's famous for being the high school coach that never punted. And he's on Twitter. And I think he was responding also today on this point to Sam Monson. So maybe Sam said it on his show. But the problem, he said, for him was when it's fourth down, you can't advance a fumble unless it's the player who fumbled doing it.
Right.
And on that play, lateral, and the clock isn't running either. It's sort of a special play.
It's a 2-point play, not a fourth down play. But.
Right. It's not a play like where there's time is running.
Right.
But why wouldn't the rule be the same for that? Like if you fumble on fourth down, you fumble, because this is what happened. This is what would happen. You fumble, I pick it up and go all the way. That wouldn't count. But for some, they didn't think of this for the 2-pointer. Like that seems to me the right point. That only Darnold, I guess,
right,
should have been able to recover it and get credit.
Right.
Then there's like sort of the process stuff, and I just can't. I don't know. I'm too old for the process stuff. It's just. It's never been trustworthy. They're going to tell you one thing, and there's going to be a play where something else happens. McVay, I mean, he was pretty hard on it. Like after the game, just I've never seen anything like that. He didn't really go into the utmost detail. Anyway, Seattle wins. So here's Seattle. An hour ago, I was like, all right, we never talk about the NFC. Now, Seattle is the one. There is a 95% chance, according to Seth Walder at ESPN, that the NFC West winner is the one. And for all the time we've spent hoping that the Bills could ever be the 1 seed, I mean, there's still a chance now, but it's very unlikely for this year. We know all about how big of an edge it is. So, I mean, if Seattle plays the Rams again, or the Niners even, San Francisco could still get it. They play Seattle, at home, still to come, last week of the season. How big of a gap would you say there is between whoever that team is, and maybe it varies depending on who it is, and the rest of the conference? We're talking about the Bears and the Buccaneers and even the Eagles. These teams are not impressive. The Bears roughed up the Eagles. Green Bay, right? I mean, Detroit's unlikely to make it.
I'm tempted to say those 3 teams from that division are better than any of the other contenders in the NFC, but I'm not sure if I want to include San Francisco in that yet. I feel like I've seen Seattle and the Rams. I've seen the Rams way more, Seattle more. The Niners are the team of the 3 that I feel like I have spent the least time watching. So I don't know that I would want to just say, blanket, all 3 of those teams are better. I definitely think the Rams and the Seahawks qualify as the class of the NFC. More than anyone else. I mean, forget about the NFC South. And even Philly, there's just so many problems. Everything looks so hard for them on offense often. I mean, not always, but often enough. It's a little like the Bills, kind of like, we got, and there's talk about receiving talent. They've got 2 of the best. They got one of the best tandems in the league in Brown and Smith, but it just seems so hard. The Rams and the Seahawks what did Stafford throw for? 475 yards last night?
Almost.
I mean, holy cow. And that's a team that runs the ball with regularity, too. It's not like they're not playing to run and shoot. Like McVay loves his first down runs. But they eat like crazy in the passing game, that team. That's the team I'm most intimidated by, the Rams. I might be selling Seattle short because I still have, I probably have a blind spot on Darnold to an extent still, even with last night.
How about that guy, though? I mean, you got to respect it.
Yeah, I definitely do, especially because, down like they were, down 16 points halfway through the fourth quarter, having already thrown 2 picks for the last time they played, like knowing that the way the season ended last year, like this whole thing is out there, and he didn't wait until week 17 or 18 or the playoffs to burst that. He just took care of it last night. Just like I know what's going on out here. I know what people think of me. And, man, he was just nails down the stretch.
May have needed the punt return. I can't know.
Yeah.
But don't really want to take any credit away from him. Sam Darnold went to Minnesota last offseason, so 24 offseason, so, right, 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And what was that going to be? He was going to be the veteran complement to J.J. McCarthy, their first-round pick. And, maybe Darnold starts week 1 of those. Like maybe he starts the season and they go to McCarthy, kind of the Tyrod Taylor blueprint, whenever the time is right. Instead, McCarthy tears his knee ligament in the preseason. Darnold plays 14-3. This year, the Seahawks are 12-3. And he has started every game in both of those seasons. He started every game for Minnesota and every game for Seattle. 26-6 the last 2 years after a record of, I know, QB wins, 21-35 for his career before going to the Vikings. So now he's 6 over because of these last 2 years.
Right.
And this was the Daniel Jones conversation, and the Darnold one, and last year's the Darnold one, and a few other guys maybe.
Geno Smith a little.
Geno Smith, where you look at it, and I just think it's really hard, no matter what that is, to be like, yeah, I believe it. I'm going to bet him in the playoffs. And I don't know, maybe he'll be the guy that proves that wrong, because it really hasn't been – has it been wrong yet? If you look at the AFC, the quarterbacks going to the Super Bowl are always elite. Like that's kind of –
right.
Well, whether Flacco was elite became its own cottage industry. But really for the last 20 or 25 years, it's been those guys. And maybe this year, maybe it's Allen, and he's certainly that. But maybe this is a year on both sides where it gets a little weird. We are at the draft room today. Bud Light helping to bring us to you They're sponsoring of the Buffalo Football Happy Hour visits we've had in the last couple of months. Very cool. We'll talk to Sam Panayotovich next. Right now we need a break. The break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples. We'll be back in a snap. Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
Folks, Bulldog here for Dash's Markets. This football
I've never quite seen anything like what happened on the 2-point conversion, where you're lined up to kickoff. Then they say it's a fumble because they had the clear and obvious recovery. Now you tack it on, you make it a 30-30 game. Very interesting. Didn't get a clear explanation of everything that went on just because of some of the timing of it. They were trying to be able to do that, but that's the thing that I've said. I've never seen anything or never been a part of anything like that, and I've grown up around this game. I'm not making excuses. We don't do that. I don't believe in that. It doesn't move us forward, but we do want clarity and an understanding of, the things that we can do to minimize that when we rejected the 2-point conversion.
Sean McVay, the Seahawks now in the driver's seat in the NFC with 2 games to go, having split with the Rams. The Seahawks have a trip to Carolina next week, and then the Niners also on the road to end the season. Possibly another, there are several this year, Week 18, Sunday night showdown options. With us now from somewhere nearby is the co-host with Joe Ostrowski of Chicken Dinner, Sam Panayotovich, making his regular appearance on our show at this time on a Friday. Although this time Sam is in Buffalo. Where exactly?
I'm here, baby. I'm like 10 minutes away from the hotel. I know that I'm in Buffalo, too, because I've already gotten 4 direct messages from WGR listeners asking me to come drink with them.
That's all?
I've never been more proud.
The DMs are open, apparently.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Sam, you got a pretty quintessential December day here. Like there's no 2 feet of snow, but you got some, and it's just like the thick gray clouds and the wind. You're not unfamiliar with our weather, but it didn't surprise you, I think.
This is the best trip by far of the 4 or 5 years, because usually I would do my job, which I no longer have. As you guys know, Bettswitz is done, so I was able to leave early in the morning. But usually I'd leave at 12, and then half the drive is with the sun down, and it's snow, and everybody's driving 40 miles an hour. This has been the easiest. It's not even close. There was a little bit of snow right outside Syracuse, but it's been mostly rainy, and I'm coming in hot, boys. Like I'm about to go to the liquor store, and I hear we're going to get together later. I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. We both do.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
We've talked some already about the game last night, Seattle's win, and what it maybe means. I said already to Bulldog, 95% by the ESPN analytics that the NFC West winner will be the 1 seed. How do you handicap that race now, and is there value maybe in the Rams or the 49ers at this point after last night?
I don't know. At this point in time, the odds are all pretty fair. I don't know that I'd be making any bets. And, as good as the West has been, I still think, this isn't going to be a popular take, but if you were going to make a bet NFC in totality, my bet would be Philly at plus 550. I just think that that's a team that knows how to win in the playoffs. They're unsexy right now. People don't like them. People don't want to talk about them. And all that does is create a price. And, like the Rams to win the NFC, Seahawks to win the NFC, we're talking in the $2 range, $1.75. You can get Philly at $5.50. And I just think that's a team that just won the Super Bowl. They're getting guys back on the O-line, D-line, playoff pedigree. That would be my bet if you wanted me to make any NFC bet. You know how I feel about the AFC. In the NFC, I feel like this would be a good time. Philly could really go into the playoffs with 3 of 4. Like 3 wins in 4 games. They're going to be the 3 seed. They're going to host a playoff game. Why not Philly?
The vibes, Sam. I guess the price is the reason. You're making the point here. Obviously, we've been doing this together long enough to know. You know me. Like I've said many times, I'd rather lose $12 than win 10. So I'm always looking for odds that are going to choose something return if I hit it. And you make a good point about Philly, but I feel like everything looks so hard for them right now.
That's true. Like I said, we'll see. They're going to play some teams here. I love Buffalo, but you can get right against Buffalo's defense. They just pounded Vegas. Absolutely pummeled them, which may not be that impressive, but to shut a team out is is no small feat. And then they'll tune up Washington. Then they get Buffalo. They're going to move the ball against Buffalo, and then they get Washington again. So that's a really nice way to build some momentum heading into the playoffs. And if there are some upsets in the NFC, man, I mean they could have a couple home games. Nobody wants to go to Philly in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders had 75 yards of offense against the Eagles last week. Bills and Browns Sunday. Buffalo a double-digit favorite. 10.5 is the last I saw. I mean, I asked Sal, if not also you, yesterday, just like, does anything, we have talked about it, like, does anything really scare you here with Cleveland? It is on the road, and it's Myles Garrett, and maybe there are reasons to get there, but I don't know. Like,
that's the only one I really feel is Garrett. I mean, could Sanders throw the ball over the top of them and hit a couple passes? He's been pretty accurate down the field. I mean, I suppose, but Sam, it just feels to me like that entire operation is about getting Myles Garrett that sack record. And I don't know. I almost would root for him to get it in the first quarter and then let the Bills beat him by 20.
The only thing that scares me is how not scared I am of the game. Like, that in itself is a little terrifying, right? Because we're all just like, oh, this is a layup. And it should be. Sidor Sanders is not ready, and his O-line stinks, and there's not a lot of weapons there. But the Bills just got to win. Do I want to lay 10.5? Not really. I can tell you, Wise Guys laid 9.5 and 10 earlier this week with the Bills, so they were happy to lay sub 10. Now at 10.5, it's just a different story because 23-13, 33-23 is a loser. Not that Cleveland's going to get to 23, but I hate laying the worst of the number. I just need them to win. I really am paying a lot of attention to that Sunday night game and how they're betting the Ravens and also betting against the Patriots. That thing opened Baltimore 1. Now it's Baltimore 3, and I can get behind a Ravens bet for sure, a cheap 3, like even money plus 100. It's not easy to get back up after you had your biggest rival dead to rights and then blew it. And now maybe some doubts creeping in. You got to face another good team. The Ravens defense is getting healthier. Vintage Lamar maybe Sunday night. Like that Patriot thing is really interesting to me. I think there's a very real possibility Buffalo wins, New England loses, and then we see what happens down the stretch for the title.
Still need New England to lose to either, at this point, Quinn Ewers or Brady Cook, or else the AFC East is theirs. So,
holy cow.
But that's not the order, but still. With Sam Panayotovich, you'll be at Packers-Bears tomorrow night. That should be pretty great. So many close division races. Philadelphia, which we talked about, is really the only one that's not in play. And that's not even technically right. I mean, they haven't clinched yet.
Right.
But they have like the one real lead in the whole league for their division. How do you see Green Bay, Chicago?
I like the under, especially if you can get a 47. I think we're going to see some more money on the over. People like to bet the over, of course, on a primetime Saturday game. But you look at the injury report, good Lord, man. I mean, Caleb Williams is out. Roma Dunze and Luther Burden, their two best receivers. They're maybe without DeAndre Swift and Loveland. Those guys are both questionable. And then you look at the Packers side. I don't think Watson's playing. Kraft has been out. Jacobs is banged up. I don't like a lot of points. So I lean under, especially at 47. I listen to this program all the time. You guys are doubting that I can get to this tailgate. I don't know who you're talking to. Like, I'm going to make it there. If I leave Buffalo at 7 a.m., I'm getting to Chicago by 2.
I'm not doubting that you'll make it. I'm just wondering when you leave in the morning. So if 7 is the plan, that's, you just did it. But
yeah, we did talk about this with Joe yesterday, and he reminded us that you're still in your 20s.
For the drive.
Because my thought is, like, I don't know, like tonight, it's not like my house, we're going to be going until 4 in the morning at my house or anything when we get together later. But
wait, we're not?
I think,
that's not what I was
just
told.
think, like that's a long ride if you've had, a couple of sips the night before. That's all.
A couple things. I'm 36. I'm not in my 20s. I don't know. When Joe said that, I was laughing. I'm like, Joe is lying to Buffalo right now. I am not in my 20s. I think I still drink like I'm in my 20s, which is a problem from time to time. But I heard you guys talking, too, off the rip, like 9-10 hours. No way. I'm 8. I'm making it there in 8.
All right.
And you get an hour. in the time change. That's going to help.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to go, though.
The college playoffs are here tonight. Alabama, Oklahoma, a couple of bigger spreads tomorrow. What are the moves for you?
So I've made 2 college football playoff bets so far. I did bet Oklahoma. Bear and I did this on Fox. We picked it on Thursday at plus 1.5, or Wednesday we did the show actually. So, Oklahoma is now the favorite. They're like 1.5. Lay 1, please. Don't lay 1.5. I just don't think Ty Simpson's healthy, guys. That's Bama's starting quarterback. He was really good early in the season, and if you watch the game against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, he didn't have it. Didn't look great. So I'm betting on defense. That's going to be an ugly game, maybe like 17-14. The total's only 41. And look, I like these home teams, in pick-em games. The home teams in the playoff last year went 4-0. Not that that's a big sample size, but I do like Oklahoma, especially if you can lay 1. And then I jumped on this James Madison thing. I've been texting with guys the last 24 hours, guys that book in Vegas, guys that bet for a living. The public loves Oregon. That's clear. But the wise guys keep betting James Madison. They bet him at 22, 21.5. They bet him at 21. That thing is coming sub 21, which is a little eye-opening, if you know what I mean. We're getting closer to kickoff. Limits are higher. Bets are bigger. The bigger bets are on James Madison at 21 and higher. And I jumped in at 21. I did.
Speaking of the playoff here, is there anything long range as far as the championship goes that you see as good value right now?
Yeah, if you go to FanDuel, it's the only book that's letting you do it right now. You can bet on the exacta, which is Team A over Team B. And Joe and I were playing around with Texas Tech over Georgia, Oregon over Georgia, and then Georgia over those 2. So we're kind of keying in on 3 teams. We're going away from the favorites, which is another bet you can make. They're giving you Indiana, Ohio State against the field. I like the field personally, minus 120. You give me the other teams, you can have the Big Ten teams, at least the 2 teams. I get Oregon. But we were kind of playing with Tech to beat Georgia, Oregon to beat Georgia. Those were around 20 to 1-ish. And then Georgia to beat Tech, Georgia to beat Oregon. Those are around 17 to 1. Little bets to win a lot on those exactas.
Again, Alabama, Oklahoma tonight. I think 8 o'clock for that one. Will you have it on?
I'm going to have to check with my wife.
It's on our phones probably anyway.
Yeah,
so.
Sam, is it going to be a bad time for you if this football game is not on the 60-inch TV in my living room?
If we can get it on, we need to watch the whole game.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Thank you, Sam. Safe travels, even though you might have already arrived, and we'll see you later.
I will see you guys soon. Can't wait. Wait till you see my sweater tonight.
Oh, Lord.
I think this is the night I met Sam last year because it was Notre Dame, Indiana.
Yeah.
That was on, and Joe was at the game in South Bend, and he was passing through, just going home, Boston to Chicago, probably same trip. We'll take a break here at the Draft Room downtown, right near the arena. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog with you. Mike Dempsey coming up in less than 20 minutes on the AFC playoff picture, some fantasy stuff for a big weekend if you're still alive. A lot of decisions to make. Rashee Rice ruled out. These are not the decisions. If they tell you that, then you don't have to worry about it.
You may have to decide who to put in his place.
Yeah, a lot of important
Got
injuries
options there, but
to figure out how to navigate here. We'll talk to Mike. And also later, Sal Capaccio on this Football Friday. Timeout for now. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. 5 right now at 716-221-4WGR 4947 wins a $100 gift card to the Woodhouse Spa, Main Street in Williamsville. This holiday season, give her the one thing she really wants, time for herself, with a gift card or curated package from the Woodhouse. Again, 5933 Main Street in Williamsville. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, the Bills and the Browns. We've spent more time on other games, other Bills games at least, over the course of the season than this one.
I feel like we've spent more time on other Week 16 NFL games this week
Maybe.
than this one. I just don't know how much, there is to say. I think it's not an opponent that should really give you a lot of pause. And like we just talked about with Sam last segment, that in and of itself can give you pause, right? Because it's the NFL and we know how it works. But, man, I just cannot respect the idea of this team giving the Bills a real problem. I just think McDermott and Babbage a lot of the day. They're getting a lot of run for confusing Drake May last week. And need I say, Shadur Sanders is not Drake May experience-wise or talent-wise. So I think a couple of takeaways are probably in order. It just should not be a game that should really threaten you. I think if Cleveland still had the potent offensive line they had, but there's injuries there. Teller, I think, is questionable.
Yep.
Conklin is out. I don't think this is a game where the Bills' opponent is going to be able to take advantage of their run defense, at least not to great success. And the quarterback, I just think you should be able to trick him into some mistakes. So I got to worry about Myles Garrett. The rookie linebacker is really nice, but that's really it. And I just think you're looking at a team that really at this time of the year should just be circling the drain.
I mean, the Bills can get run on by anybody. That would be, if Cleveland hangs, that's probably how they do it. A couple of turnovers, maybe a special teams play, the classic underdog recipe. And Quinshon Judkins, he's not like putting up. He was at one point, a lot of different guys have been this, the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and that's almost just changed every week from Ibuka eventually to Judkins once he got in the lineup. Jackson Dart, and now Henderson for New England is the favorite. And most of the season was, why aren't they using Travion Henderson?
Yeah.
So he might be the guy at this point that wins it. When was the Bills' last win in Cleveland? I could tell you.
Nothing really springs to mind. There's a game there with EJ that they lose, right? And the Browns lost their quarterback early in that game, and still they won it. I don't know if there's a win in between then and now. I don't think there is. Nothing, again, not. I might be forgetting a game, but I cannot remember.
Week 3, 2012, which is the year before that Manual night game you were thinking of.
Yeah.
This is a 24-14 win in Cleveland. That season was Chan Gailey and Fitzpatrick. That season started with a pretty bad, almost shockingly bad loss at the Jets. Like the Jets got out 41-7.
Oh, was that Mario Williams' first game? And the guy was mean to me.
Okay, yeah.
Right. He punched me in the face. Oh, my God, dude. We just made you the highest paid player in the history of the NFL on defense, and you're telling me the left tackle, kicked you in the nuts. Just shut up.
Fair. Then the Bills go to Kansas City and win, and then to Cleveland and win in Week 3. But that season definitely got away from them, 2012. The game in Toronto against Seattle is memorable. 50-17. Mid-December. Yikes. Mike Dempsey coming up next, Football Friday at the Draft Room downtown. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Bills at Browns this Sunday at 1 p.m. There's a reported roster addition for the Bills. We'll get to that here in just a moment. For the injured players, just 3 players for the Bills have been ruled out. Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt. Lunt, though, is also being placed on IR, while just Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. Hardman is making his way back from IR. And with that, there is no other game day designations, and that does mean Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford are all set to be good to go for Sunday. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pregame gets underway at 7 a.m. on Sunday, and we'll carry all the way to kickoff at 1, where we'll then hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And speaking of Sal, do stay tuned. He'll be joining the show in just about an hour at 5 p.m. Now to the reported roster edition. The Bills, according to Ian Rappaport, hosted edge rusher Matt Judon today and do expect to sign him to the practice squad. Around the rest of the league, some wide receiver news in the NFL. The Jets are shutting down Garrett Wilson for the season, and Drake London is questionable for Atlanta with a PCL injury, though he is expected to play, according to head coach Raheem Morris. Falcons are at Arizona this weekend. The weekend, though, does get underway tomorrow in the NFL. 2 Saturday games, Washington hosting Philly at 5, and then the Packers, they are at the Bears, an 8:20 kickoff. For the Sabres, they are off tonight, though they are riding a 4-game win streak. They do, though, have a weekend back-to-back. Tomorrow hosting the Islanders at 5, then Sunday at New Jersey just after 7 o'clock. In college football, the playoffs gets underway this evening. Just one game, though, Oklahoma hosting Alabama just after 8. Tomorrow, then, is the rest of the first round. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. Then at 7:30 to round out the evening, James Madison at Oregon. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Schopp and the Bulldog.
I have a leg injury and a foot injury right now.
A leg and a foot. Are they on the same
Side of my body?
side of your body?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Left.
What happened to you?
I got stung by a bee, and then I think I got stung by another bee.
Oh, come on.
I think I did.
When did this happen?
Last night.
Last night.
Last night. Who knew?
It's Mike Schopp.
Just never thought about getting stung by a bee at night. I don't know. But there would still be bees at night.
I guess.
Not to sound like the flat earth thing. The bees just don't disappear when it gets dark.
Okay, but I've never seen one at night.
Well, it's dark.
And the Bulldog.
Maybe they would not be out at night, but you disturbed it, so it came out and said, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, they weren't expecting me.
I'm in here trying to watch the Vietnam War on PBS, right. And you're what are you doing sitting down in the chair? This is my time.
You are not supposed to. Right. This is our time.
Right.
That's what the bee said.
Right. So
on behalf of the other bees.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I'm still flummoxed by that video game over there. So that is NHL 94.
Yeah, I went and looked. EA Sports NHL 94 is what that is.
Why do I remember it looking different? Is it because I was playing on a PC versus a game system?
I don't know. I never played it on a PC, so I don't know.
You would have had to pick the right game for what you were using, like the right version of it.
Yeah.
And I want to say it looked different, but I should find out. That's probably something you can find out. I don't have, of course. This actually isn't that much of a given when it comes to me, but I don't have the game anymore.
Nor do I.
NHL 94.
I don't.
But I, like you, turns out, spent, countless hours.
Oh my gosh.
Playing out seasons on
I
that
don't think
game.
we
There
kept.
it is.
I don't think we kept stats and standings, but we were into it.
Here at the draft room. Bills and Browns Sunday afternoon. We've every day talked about this very interesting and for the last couple of years different season in the AFC. No Chiefs. We'll see about Baltimore. Right now you've got some new contenders, and the Bills may end up having to go on the road. If they started the playoffs this weekend, it would be Jacksonville. Let's talk about them for a bit with Mike Dempsey, football diehards, also Jacksonville radio host. He's been on with us many times, although not in a while. We don't play this year, Mike, so we haven't had the, that week's conversation about the Bills and the Jaguars. But I don't know, maybe surprising isn't the word you would use, but, impressive season so far from the Jags?
Oh, it's definitely surprising. I mean, I actually picked them to win 9 games, and in part because of the way the schedule's set up late in the season, and it's kind of playing out that way, but they got off to a much better start, I think, than almost anybody anticipated, and were able to keep it rolling. And, you know, the midseason addition of Jacoby Myers turned into the long-term addition of Jacoby Myers with the contract they gave him yesterday, and right now things are clicking pretty well.
Do you think it was a matter of, well, you just said they got off to a fast start, but I think the offense is really humming now, and Myers is in the middle of that. Brian Thomas Jr., I know from fantasy, has had an uneven year mostly. Do you think, like, just adjusting to Liam Cohen and his offense took a while for Trevor Lawrence and the receivers? Like, is it firing on all cylinders now, Mike?
Yeah, I think more for Trevor Lawrence adjusting to it. I think, the Myers addition was more about just having a guy with a reliable pair of hands. Brian Thomas is plagued by drops. I don't think that has anything to do with knowing the offense. That's just executing when the ball comes your way. And he had a lot of that early in the season. The Jags led the league in drops. I'm not sure if they still do, but they had a sizable lead at one point in drop passes, and I think that held the offense back. But they were able to run the ball early on. They were leading the league in rushing for the first few weeks of the season, and that helped them get off to a good start, so it wasn't as paramount. Plus, they were turning teams over on a ridiculous pace early on. And, last year they had 9 turnovers for the whole season, and they've blown past that now. And, when they play complementary football like that, getting the ball back, getting some short fields, offense is starting to click. You're seeing the results.
3 or more takeaways for Jacksonville in each of its first 4 games. Week 5 is the night game win over Kansas City, and it's only 1, but that was like a 95-yard interception return or something, right? The one takeaway they had against the Chiefs. Okay. Mike Thomas, I mean, it's a positive story. I don't want to bring up some, a facet of it that isn't going well, but, I mean, this is fantasy football. This is a late first-round pick or early second-round pick this year, and I think it's a mystery. You mentioned the drops already. I wonder if there's more to it. It's got to be a mystery to most of us why this hasn't gone better with Lawrence, performing and the coach and the offense is humming. Is there any better explanation for kind of what happened to Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, I think in part they're learning he's just not the kind of receiver you want to send over the middle that much. I mean, he that's not his forte. He lives outside the hashes, basically, in Liam Cohen's offense. That doesn't mean he'll never run a crossing pattern, but, it's more selective, and I think they try to use him in all different capacities. Last year, they just had nothing offensively, so he really took off. Mac Jones was hammering him with 10 to 12 targets a week for the last 6-7 weeks of the season, and, he put up a lot of numbers, but a lot of that was he'd hit one big play. Now they're mixing him in, and he's not getting as many targets, but lately they've been effective. His body language is good. He seems to be leaning into where they're at right now, so he's not pouting or anything like that. And I just think that, last year sometimes guys just get an overabundance of targets, and if that's your sole concentration, that guy is probably going to put up some numbers, but it wasn't leading to winning football for the Jaguars last year, and it certainly wasn't this year. And now, Jacoby Myers comes in, plus Parker Washington has been really good over the middle. Brenton Strange was their leading receiver when he got hurt early in the season. In fact, I don't think, with the exception of the Cincinnati game, which the league, they got one of those calls like, hey, we blew it for you on a 4th down pass interference, which would have ended the game. They called a pass interference to extend the drive. Jags would have been 5-0. They would have been undefeated in games that Brenton Strange has played this year. He has been a force in the middle of the field and just destroying people as a run blocker and pass protector. So I think it's a lot of different things. It just took a while to find the strengths of these receivers and how they fit into Liam Cohen's system and to kind of divide up the responsibilities. But now you got a guy in Myers who will take those big hits over the middle and can hang on to the football. And if the ball gets to his hands, he's had 1 drop in 6 games, and it was noteworthy because has been so good with him just being sure-handed. And, sometimes I guess that's all it takes. And, Jacoby Myers is a former 1,000-yard receiver. He's been good in this league, but he's been fantastic for the Jags. And that helped Brian Thomas and everybody else take their game up a level.
It all feels like another one of these examples where you should take everything a coach says during the spring and summer with a grain of salt, because something that really got my attention about the Jaguars when Liam Cohen first got there was the offense is going to run through Brian Thomas. So like, wow, let's get back to the fantasy point. Like, I think a lot of people would have thought that he was going to have a monster season when you hear a new head coach talking like that, and it never really developed early. And now their passing offense is being, sprung by Myers. How much of a pleasant surprise? I mean, Myers is an accomplished player, but has he exceeded? I mean, the contract extension maybe tells you yes. What expectations were, because he's had a tremendous impact there, it seems.
Yeah, on the Brian Thomas thing, I think that was their intended plan, and then they got around him and realized he's not that type of guy, and that's okay. Yeah. He's a really good player. He's not Jamar Chase. But anyway, in terms of the Myers thing, yeah, I think he has exceeded a lot of expectations. I don't think anybody, 6 weeks ago was thinking he'd be getting a $60 million extension. But now you look at it, and this front office has done a really nice job. But they also signed a guy like De'Ami Brown based off of a couple of playoff games when he had never done anything in 4 years, and he got over $10 million. So I paid Jacoby Myers 10 times what De'Ami Brown's made. So the way I look at it, $20 million's a bargain. But yeah, he's been just a breath of fresh air for this offense and kind of the final piece. And now you can line up with your deep threat and BTJ, and you can have Myers, and you can have Parker Washington, and you can have Brenton Strange. And if you need a big-bodied guy when you go with 4 wide, you bring in Tim Patrick, and he's been pretty good. And Brown is an afterthought now, and they just feel like a more complete receiving unit, core, whatever you want to call them at this point.
With Mike Dempsey, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at the Draft Room downtown today on WGR. Well, Mike, I mean, it wouldn't surprise you. The Bills have been into the playoffs, fairly deep even for 5 or 6 years in a row. And this year, you're watching them. You see New England rise up. Kansas City is out. Look, it's a different-looking playoff picture. What does it look like from your perspective with the Jaguars? I imagine in Jacksonville, you're having the conversation largely that maybe they're having in places like New England or Seattle, for sure, where, hey, it's wide open, we're good, who knows?
Right. I mean, look, nobody, first of all, making the play, it's still, if they make the playoffs, which are almost a lock to at this point, it's going to be a hell of a year. I mean, they're coming off a 4-win season, guys. I mean, you've got a brand new coaching staff and all the differences that come with it and all the adjustments you've had to make. You lost your first-round pick, who you gave up so much to get, who you expected to make a big impact on both sides of the ball. Your second pick that you made was your first-year 2 third-rounders, never played it down this year. So you're getting nothing out of your top 2 draft picks. And so for that to be the case, and it's not just that they added some guys, it's that this coaching staff is getting good performances out of guys that were holdovers like Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne. But in terms of the AFC picture, absolutely. Look, they beat Denver this week. They're in the catbird seat for at least the number 2 seed in the AFC, and that means a minimum of 2 home games if you win your first one. And who knows? I mean, look, would anybody be surprised if the Texans were the 7th seed in the playoffs or the 6th seed or whatever, if they had to match up with the number 1 seed in the second round and knock them off? I mean, you could have the entire AFC playoffs come through your place if you end up at 2 or 3, if it falls a certain way. So I don't think people are getting too far ahead of themselves. They've got a game to play and win, and I think that's been, it's cliche, but they're focusing on the task at hand. They clearly weren't looking past the Jets last week. Trevor Lawrence put up a career-best game. They put up 48 points. So they are focusing, and I think the loss to Houston over a month ago, where they had a 19-point lead in the fourth quarter and blew it, has galvanized his team, and they talk about it in the post game every week. Like, hey, we're not going to let that happen again. We're not going to let that happen again. So I think they realize they've got a great opportunity. And you set your goals, but then when you start to achieve them easier than you thought, in terms of wins and competitive and making the postseason, then you raise your expectations. So why not? I mean, in this year in the AFC, no apologies to Buffalo. There's no great team, in my opinion. There's nobody who can't be beat. Lace them up and let's go find out.
We've spent a good amount of time here, Mike, talking about the offensive side of the ball. You mentioned the takeaways and Devin Lloyd's name. How about that side of the ball in its entirety? Like, what is the calling card there? We've seen the Bills struggle with blitzing teams and pass rush with Houston. Atlanta was blitz heavy, and the Bills looked like they'd never seen the blitz before that day. What about Jacksonville on that side of the ball? What's the calling card?
I think to a lot of folks, the turnovers are going to stand out, right? They've been just outstanding. They are right up there with Seattle in terms of creating the most turnovers in the league. But for me, I think it has to be the run defense. I mean, the Jaguars are giving up the fewest yards of any team in the National Football League. The Broncos happen to be second, by the way. They're more known or more thought of as a pass rush, pass defense team with Pat Surtain. But the Jags are giving up less than 90 yards a game total. Nobody's hit 100 yards on them. Jonathan Taylor had, I think, 74 against them, and that's the most they've given up to a single back. Mahomes went over 50, and he was like the third leading single rusher against the team this year. So, and again, they're doing that. The front seven has not been remade. They're just playing better. They moved Eric Armstead inside because they played him out of position, the last coaching staff, as a defensive end, something he had never done. And he and Devon Hamilton have been good. The ends are good run defenders as well as pass rushers. And Devin Lloyd's having a career year in the linebacking corps. Boy, Aluakin is as solid as it comes. So they're just getting a better level of play. You give a lot of credit to Anthony Campanelli, who's come in and his schemes have put them in the right position. They rally the ball. They're a better tackling team than they've been in the past. I don't know how you just turn the switch and make the same guys play better, but this coaching staff is showing you that the staff, matters, maybe not as much as the raw talent, but it's a combination of the two, and they're getting better performances out of these guys. But run defense, holding teams to under 90 a game has to be the number one because that can travel in the postseason.
Mike is the guy, and I've said this to him before on previous visits, that I mentioned when sometimes I get into a conversation with a friend who thinks I play too much fantasy football because even at my lofty number, Mike is way above me, I think. And we're in one league together, which has been fun for years, and this year especially for me because I'm finally good, even though I got relegated, Bulldog.
Oh,
it's a great league, defensive players and all of this. Were you able? I mean, so I'm prefacing this question with a reference to how much volume we're talking about. Were you able to do well enough being able to avoid the pitfalls of the first round, whether that was Thomas toward the end or, Malik Neighbors gets hurt. That's tough. Justin Jefferson, Mike, one of the stories of the season in fantasy, just like how for the first time he wasn't quarterback proof. If you got enough Gibbs or McCaffrey, maybe you don't mind too much. You survived it.
Yeah, I have a lot of McCaffrey, but look, I'm like everybody else. Or let me put it this way. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it was all Gibbs or McCaffrey for me or bust, because you're not always in position to get those guys, right? So, yeah, I've got my shares of Brian Thomas at the 1-2 turn or Ashton Genty or, you name them, Justin Jefferson. Hey, that's the thing. Justin Jefferson has always been what we call quarterback proof. Hasn't mattered. Tons of volume. They'll be good enough to get him the ball. Well, until they're not, and we're seeing it this year. He's had less than 40 yards in the last 3 games combined. So, no, I did not avoid all the pitfalls of round one. I like to scare people. People say, how many leagues are you in? I go, about 150. And they're like, wow, that's crazy. But you and I know, guys, that you play in these best ball leagues, you draft them, and then you're done. And, there's no management going on with them. So I managed 12 teams. And 6 of them made the playoffs this year. So for me, that's a super low percentage. So I would say round 1 and rounds 2 through 15 got me a little bit this year.
What do you want to do with Jefferson in Dynasty? Just, you can't really, it's probably past trade deadline time anyway, but not somebody going to the offseason that, you're going to get a great offer for, maybe? Are you interested in buying Jefferson?
Oh, I'd buy him for sure. I mean, the guy's this talent's undeniable, right? And who knows? Maybe they decide that they've got to move on from J.J. McCarthy. Maybe J.J. McCarthy, after a year of ups and downs and has his feet wet, improves. But there's no way I'm selling him now because you're going to get pennies on the dollar for Justin Jefferson. It's just not a good investment. He's still young enough that you could afford to hang on to him for another down year and still recoup a lot on the back end. So I think he's a hold if you have him. He's a buy if somebody is putting him out there. And, you got to drive a hard bargain. I'm not going to give you what I would have given you before the season because that's part of the negotiation. But I still think he's a top 5 dynasty asset at wide receiver. He's just way too talented and way too much of a proven track record.
One more for you, Mike. James Cook. So last year, the big touchdown spike. He still really didn't get that much of a bump in fantasy drafts because maybe, we condescend to touchdowns and
regression was coming for him,
that,
right?
But here he is, second in the league in rushing, not by much, behind Jonathan Taylor, 10 rushing touchdowns so far. Will next year be the year where, if you don't object to me putting it this way, like he finally gets that respect from the fantasy community? I'm as guilty as anybody because I tended to avoid him again this year.
He should, right? I mean, really, he should be a first-round pick, at least in redraft for next year. But I think you'll see him more as a second-rounder next year. I think there's still the fear that Josh Allen has those games where he just takes over and he runs for 2 or 3 touchdowns himself, which limits the upside of Cook. Not that he hasn't scored a bunch of TDs. I mean, he's got 1,400 yards and 10 on the ground this year, another 2 receiving, as you guys well know. So it's hard to argue with his production. I mean, I think he's a safer back than probably a lot of the guys that we were taking. And I'd rather have him than Devon Achane just based on Achane's size. I always look at that guy and think he's going to blow away, but it's not like Cook's the biggest guy. But yeah, I think will he get it? If he doesn't, it'll be to our benefit because I think right now you could easily justify taking him in the first 12 picks if you were drafting today for 2026, and I don't think you're going to need to have to do that to get him in most cases.
Mm-hmm. Probably right. Last year or this year, he was kind of a 3-4 turn pick, Cook, and you look at some of the names.
Absolutely, right. Yes.
We just didn't really trust it, I guess. Not everybody, but I'm guilty, like I said. Well, thank you, Mike. Got to be enjoying this Jaguar season. Maybe we'll get that meeting in a few weeks between Buffalo and Jacksonville after all. Thanks for your time, and happy holidays.
Fantastic. Thank you. Happy holidays to all your audience, and always great to be on with you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Dempsey, 1010XL in Jacksonville and on the Jaguars radio network. Jacksonville at Denver late Sunday. Is that a must-watch?
I feel like I really want to see that game. Yeah. I feel like that's just to get a read, like how Jaguar-proof are the Broncos and maybe even how Bronco-proof are the Jags. Like, I'm just very curious. I mean, those are teams you're dealing with here. So you're coming down the stretch. I mean, every one of these games I'm going to be trying to draw something out of them. So, yeah, I'm really curious about how that game goes.
4:05, not 4:25. Oh, that's an insult.
Sure
they put
is.
you at 4:05.
Right.
They don't. Nobody's watching.
Who's in fourth? Who's in
Pittsburgh, Detroit would be the marquee game in the late window on Sunday. One of 4 o'clock or 4:25 games. Atlanta, Arizona, Raiders, Texans. Those aren't it.
No.
Pittsburgh, Detroit would be the one. Sunday night, New England, Baltimore. Monday night, San Francisco, Indianapolis. Talked about last night's game some. Seattle's incredible overtime win over the Rams. 581 yards allowed, and they won. At home with that defense, and they still won. Puka Nacua. What a player. Lines are open for you, 803-0550. Bills, Browns, the playoff picture. How does a trip to Jacksonville sound to anybody looking ahead to the postseason? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at the draft room. We need a break. Our commercial break is brought to you by Snapdragon Apples. We'll be back in a snap. Snapdragon apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.
Bills at Browns this Sunday at 1 p.m. 3 players for the Bills have already been ruled out, that being Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt. Lunt also, by the way, is going on IR, while just Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. And with that, though, there's no other game day designations, and that does mean Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford are all set to go for Sunday. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by The Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pregame does get underway bright and early at 7 a.m. on Sunday, and we'll carry you all the way to kickoff at 1 p.m., where we'll hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call for the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And speaking of Sal, do stay tuned. Coming up in just about a half hour at 5, Sal is going to join the show. That is not the only Bills news, though. They have some roster news. Ian Rappaport was first to report the team hosted edge rusher Matt Judon and are expected to sign him to the team's practice squad. To the Sabres, no game tonight, though they are now on a 4-game win streak. They will have a weekend back-to-back tomorrow night, hosting the Islanders at 5, then on Sunday at New Jersey just after 7 o'clock. And then tonight, the college football playoff gets underway. Just one game, though, on the schedule. Oklahoma hosting Alabama at 8. Tomorrow is going to be the rest of the first round. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. Then at 7:30 to round out your evening, James Madison at Oregon. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Yeah, it's not a new injury. It's something we're managing. He's been managing pretty much all season and a little bit going back to last year as well. So we're trying to be smart with him as much as possible here.
Sean McDermott on Dalton Kincaid. Not exactly super specific. Going back to last year with an injury, and I don't know, does the word chronic come to mind here? It's been this way with Kincaid in his still young career, but has not been physically that reliable. It sounds like, though, for this game, we're okay. Matt Judon, the report, as you just heard, expected to be signed to the Bills practice squad. 10 years in the league.
Respectable move, I think.
Why not? Another why not move?
I didn't tweet about it when I saw it a day or two ago, but well, it could be a guy. You know, like that. I feel like that's a guy that if another contender grabbed him, we'd get calls, or even ourselves would be like, I don't know, wasn't that worth a try? I probably should have tried that on. He's made some plays in the league, veteran guy, like you said.
You know who the player?
I like it. I like it, Bills. Good job.
Sorry, I couldn't wait. You know who the player I would say this year is number one on that list of players that, in general, the fan base wishes the Bills could have been the team to get? Shaheed.
Yeah.
And, last night,
right.
That's a game-changing play in a critical game. Halfway through the fourth quarter, they're down 30-14, Seattle. The Rams are punting just to stay awake.
Right.
And I was about done with it. I was the one who was having a tougher time staying awake at that point.
I kept it on, but I dozed off. And, I saw that play and dozed off, and then woke up when the noise about the 2-point play that got reviewed was happening. And I'm looking at, it's one of those deals, I don't want to paint too graphic a picture. Whatever. I'm in bed. I'm on my side. iPad is propped up on my nightstand, right? And I'm asleep. I open my eyes, and I see Ty score, and I'm like, one of those deals where I can't even really process. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I saw the punt return. They scored again? Wow. It's one of those deals. But, yeah, big play. Who knows? Like, they scored all these points. The end of the fourth quarter was brutal. Like, both teams had opportunities to drive and get the game-winning field goal. Rams got in position and missed. Didn't that kick look like it was good the whole time? And then it was very strange. The way I think even Al and Kirk said something effective, boy, that just went right at the end. Like, it looked like it was going to be not even close.
Maybe somebody opened a door.
To missing. I don't know, but it took a weird drift to the right at the end, or at least that's what it appeared to be on TV. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like nobody wanted to take it at the end. And then we got overtime, and then both teams scored touchdowns in overtime.
Right, that's a thing now. That can happen.
Right.
Seattle goes for 2. They had to. It was late, and a tie didn't help them.
Right.
So they go for 2 and get it. That was a great play. I was, riveted by this. Like, what are they going to run? I kind of like the idea. You have all right, let's ask this question. Bills line up to go for 2. Season on the line. What does it look like? Imagine Allen not sort of going for it himself.
Right.
But, it could be a play you're hoping somebody breaks open on a route like last night happened for Seattle.
Right.
That was just a great play by them. I kind of like the idea of running the ball there because I wonder if teams spread them out and run it.
Yeah.
But, it depends on the team maybe. Just imagine if, like, this season comes down to that.
Right. We've seen Allen have success down close to the goal line on plays that might make you uncomfortable for 5 or 6 seconds, right? Where it's not necessarily a 2-point play, but same area of the field. And it's like you can maybe even see as the ball is snapped, what they want to do, and it's not there, right? Like whether that's some little orbit motion thing or a tight end leaking out or whatever it is, but it's a play action and it's not there. And Allen, so he hits his back foot and nope, and it starts hopping and drifting to his right and buys time and then throws a laser to someone in the back of the end zone. That play works, but holy cow, it's torture getting there. If you need it, your season is on the line, and that's the play. You'd much rather have something that quickly, the design is so good, it's off of something that you've put on film all year, and they didn't see it coming, and it's just easy. It's like some version of the Cook touchdown last week, the passing touchdown in New England, where it's just open. There's a linebacker between you and the receiver, but it's an easy throw, walk in. I feel like if that play comes to the Bills, if we're in a situation in a game here in the playoffs where they need it, it's going to be Allen buying time. It's just that's how it always ends up. The thing we wanted isn't there. Superman, do your thing. Come save us.
You can't push from the 2. Really, it's too risky. It's too far. Or the 2.5.
Well, the Bills get 2 to 3 yards a lot of the time on that play.
Maybe not from the goal line, though.
Right.
Where it's so obvious what you're play Philadelphia, you're likely to expect. Matt Judon is 13th among active players in sacks career, 72, 1 spot behind Joey Bosa. So we'll see if we ever see Matt Judon on the field for the Bills. Maybe we will. Baltimore, New England, then the last 2 years Atlanta and Miami, released then by Miami. Kind of like Slay was. The Bills played Pittsburgh, and off that game, the Steelers waived Darius Slay. The Dolphins are at a point where they just decided they didn't need this guy for what they were doing.
This was not a waiver claim. We don't have to worry about him coming or not coming. He has agreed to sign to the Bills practice squad. So it's not a Slay, just in case you mentioning Slay there.
Right.
If alarms went off for people. Not that. They didn't have to claim. He cleared waivers, and they've signed him. So he's here.
He's not going to sign and then choose not to come.
I assume that means he's happy to have the opportunity.
Interesting.
Yes. Not going to protest.
We've got Sal coming up at 5, so about 20 minutes. We're at the draft room here downtown. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will have picks at 6 tonight. I've gotten a little bit of closure here on this NHL 94 drama because I'm looking up here at the draft room to a screen. You went and played it. NHL 94 is available here to the patrons. And I played the hell out of that game, and it didn't look the same to me as I remembered it. It looked like Swingers. This is the game they play, and it is. But I played it on a PC. So during the last break, Like, I have to know.
Right.
Here's Boston winning the Stanley Cup. I went to YouTube.
I've never seen that before.
That was it. We said this before.
It's all over.
It's like 5 seconds.
Yep.
How it probably looks different based on, like, I used a personal computer versus like a Sega or whatever you would have.
Yep.
And it is a little bit different. So I'm kind of relieved that it is. On YouTube, I found a 4-hour, 40-minute video of each team winning the Stanley Cup in EA Sports NHL 94. And I just pushed play to see if this is how I remember it, and it is. And Bruins.
Don't close it out. They just did the little cup celebration, and then
the Sabres are next.
And then
Should we just pivot to this?
The 3 stars. I was waiting to see because I remember a still shot of, but I think I think that might have been Tecmo Bowl with like confetti and like the trophy and like in a celebration like parade type setting. That's not on that.
No, they have the players, not even the whole team, like the line that's on the ice for the end of the game. Parade the cup around for like 5 seconds, and then they do the 3 stars.
Right.
But you don't usually see it go in that order.
That's right.
But do they have 3 stars when the team wins the Stanley Cup? Do they even bother with that? Do they just announce it in the building and?
Yeah, like when Dallas wins in triple overtime. After all of that? Yeah, I watched the Cup celebration every year. Funny enough, I did not watch it.
You never
in that game because I was getting married and I just wasn't sitting in front of a TV.
Did they have the 3 stars?
Do they have? I've never noticed it. I mean, there's all the on ice interviews and all the stuff. I think maybe they probably have voted on it and it's registered somewhere, but I don't think they announce it.
I'm about to watch the Sabres win the Stanley Cup. We're second alphabetically. Maybe, or East, then West, against Chicago.
Talk about your fantasy sports.
It's right. You want it. It's there. 93 Sabres. There's LaFontaine, Airy, Himalev. That's our team. Oh, McGillney. This would be this was the game. This would be a super fun team to play. I mean, the 93 Sabres with those 2 guys.
Yep.
They're putting the pressure on Chicago here early. It looks they just drew Chelios to the box.
What a goon.
For a slash.
Cheap shot
a minute 30 in. It looks like it could be Van Helleman officiating. All right. We'll keep tabs on this one.
We'll keep you posted.
Anybody can watch. All right. Sal at 5. We'll look for your calls again after a short break from the draft room. 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
Folks, it's Bulldog here.
Please join me in congratulating David E. on being this week's winner of the Football Friday Tailgate Tray giveaway. David has won a $300 tailgate tray certificate from Alibaba Kebab. We pick a new winner each Friday. Keep those entries coming at WGR550.com. Fire up your taste buds at any of their 3 locations. 2 home games left last 2 weeks after this one in Cleveland. Final road game of the season for the Bills. They've had their bad days on the road, but nice rally in New England, of course. Easy win in Pittsburgh more recently. Last game at the stadium, for all the time we spent thinking about it, what it'll be like, playoffs.
It would be anticlimactic because of playoff potential, and yeah.
It's still, even if it's not for the AFC East, and New England will determine that, they'll have to slip in one of those final 2 games for the Bills to have a chance at it, then it's obvious you go all out. If it's the difference between one of the wild card slots, because they're almost definitely going to be in one of them, I don't know what you do. I mean, you wanted the rest, you didn't get it, then you're going on the road the next week, maybe even on a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
It would be tough if you really went hard for that game just to try to be maybe the 5 versus the 6. I don't even know if you want to be the 5 versus the 6 this year. So there'll be a lot to talk about.
There will be a lot of debating about that. I think for now, my default setting, TBD definitively. But right now, I'm where I was earlier in the week, which is get me to the 5. If I got to deal with Baltimore, I may be sorry that I did it, but still, it could still be Pittsburgh. Probably have a decent, those 2 teams play Week 18 that could decide it, so you might not know. But the potential for the 7 and the 6 to win games on the road to start the playoffs, to me, is less far-fetched than it's been in years. Certainly since the Bills have been, in this window that they've been in since 2020, really. So, I would be kicking myself if, and I think Sean McDermott would too, if they decided, we're not worried about 5, 6, or 7. It's all the same. We're going on the road. I mean, you could be one of the teams that pulls that upset. Then that's ideally what you want to do. But man, if you had a shot at the 5 and let it slip away, and that ends up being the catbird seat where you're home maybe for 2 weeks after that, holy cow, that would be a brutal beat. So I would bet they would go for it and let the chips fall. But I don't know for sure. I mean, rest is at a premium, and they have had a very uneven year health-wise. So they might be more motivated about it than ever to make sure that they are rested and not going hard right to the wire. I think it's a close call.
I'm trying to think of, since they put in the 7 seed, if any AFC 7 seed has been any good at all. The year the Dolphins made it and played here, that was a 7-2. Mm-hmm. And they gave the Bills a game. That was
Skylar Thompson,
Skylar Thompson, like 34-31. But the Bills might have been, they were huge favorites that day when the Steelers went to Kansas City. Denver last year, blowout. I know Green Bay has that one win on the NFC side going back a few years in Dallas. But has there ever been a good – this is probably going to be the best one yet is what I'm saying to your point as well. Like whether that's going to be Houston or – it's almost definitely going to be one of these 3 teams that's in the wild card spot right now.
Right.
Unless Indianapolis gets works a miracle.
And I like any one of those 3 teams on the road in the wild card round. To varying degrees. Houston, New England. Okay, that's not crazy. Chargers, Jaguars. Okay, not crazy. And then Bills, whoever. Bills, Steelers, Bills, Ravens. Any one of those 3 wildcard teams to me could win. And I wonder, we've talked a little, like what does the spread look like in any of those games? I just think if the road teams aren't favored, there's going to be small. Maybe it'll be the smallest spreads. That Saturday, that first wild card game, will probably have the smallest spread it's had in a while. I'm not sitting here. I don't have the schedule memorized, but we've talked about it for years, right? What do you call it? The AFC South Invitational.
Yeah, Sell has a guy who coined it.
It's
once.
just such a oh, get out of here! You're not going anywhere. I don't think that's the case at all this year with this playoff field.
It is the 6th year of it. 2020 was the first year of a 7th team making it in each conference. We'll take a break, then bring Sal on. Football Friday continues from the draft room downtown. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. We are less than a week away from Christmas.
1 p.m. kickoff. 3 players for the Bills have been ruled out: Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt. And it also should be noted on Lunt, he is being placed on IR. That is official from the team. While just Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. Hardman, of course, still making his way back from IR. And with that, there is no other game day designations. Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford should all be good to go for Sunday. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday will get underway at 7 a.m. and carry you all the way to kickoff at 1 p.m., where we'll hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. And speaking of Sal, stay tuned. Coming up next, he is going to join the show. Some other Bills notes. Ian Rappaport is reporting the team hosted edge rusher Matt Judon earlier today and do expect to sign him to the practice squad, but nothing official yet from the team. Some other news in the NFL, wide receiver news in the NFL. The Jets are shutting down Garrett Wilson for the season, and Drake London is questionable for Atlanta with a PCL injury. He is, though, expected to play, according to head coach Raheem Morris. Falcons are at Arizona on Sunday. Before that, though, we do have 2 games on Saturday. Washington hosts Philadelphia at 5, then at 8:20, the Bears host the Green Bay Packers. To the Sabres, no game tonight, though they are riding a 4-game win streak. They do, though, have a weekend back-to-back. Tomorrow hosting the Islanders at 5, then on Sunday at New Jersey. That game will get going just after 7. Tonight, the college football playoff will get underway, though we have just 1 game on the schedule. It's Oklahoma hosting Alabama at 8. Tomorrow is going to be the rest of the field. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. Then at 7:30, it's going to be James Madison at Oregon. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bills and Browns Sunday. I mean, there could be more history.
Drink it in.
Drink it in. There could be more history than there is. And not even considering that the Browns took a few years off there after they were moved to Baltimore. But you don't have many Kelly games against the Browns. There's one that, with Sal on especially, this is the time that he and I both went to in the playoffs. I'm asking you earlier, what's the Bills' play call from on a 2-point conversion to save their season, end of the game, like Seattle last night? Well, that's pretty close. The way that game in Cleveland ended was pretty close to that. Ronnie Harmon. Sal Capaccio along on this Football Friday, joining us on the West Her hotline. And it's 35 years ago, but it's still very fresh. I have a couple of images from that day, and it's a great game. It's a Bills loss, so apart from that, though, it's a great game, Sal, to rewatch.
It's still, I would say, it was the best football game I had ever attended live until, unfortunately, another game the Bills lost, which was in Kansas City with 13 seconds left when the Bills led. Those are the 2 games I would put right up there as pure football games. Now, there's been joyous moments and occasions, 51-3, perfect game, things like that. But, I mean, as far as a back-and-forth, incredible football game, that was always the number 1 on my leaderboard until the Kansas City game.
Are you guys looking forward to a grass field next year? Part of the allure of games like that, because I love to watch the old stuff. I love it when it's a little bit dirty, some mud, Are you guys looking forward to that next season?
I am looking forward to it. I still am very. I look forward to that at stadiums the Bills are going to that have the grass field, like in Pittsburgh when that was the case or whatever, and thinking about it, or. I guess Miami wouldn't be the same, but sure, yeah, I'm all for that, and I get it. There's a bit of an affinity for something like that for people like us who grew up watching it.
Yeah, and I think the players certainly prefer it, right? No getting your foot stuck in the turf, that kind of stuff. The only thing I worry about, you mentioned Pittsburgh, and not that I'm anticipating this being a problem, but is the turf, is the footing suitable, right? Are they just like patching stuff up, trying to get by because they're so busy, be it with high school football or even college football? I don't know how much use the Bills field will get from other football, if any. But that's the one thing I worry about. Like sometimes that Pittsburgh field, it looks like they're out there with cans of spray paint, just filling in, like making it look like it's green, and it's really just sawdust.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't know. Obviously, they invest a lot of technology and research into having the best fields possible, but it is Buffalo. It will be a heated field underneath, and I'm sure it's not going to be absolutely pristine when the weather is a little bit rough out. But yeah, you're right about that part of it. But there is a charm of watching those games back like that, guys. No doubt about it.
All right, Sal. So what about this game? What?
I'm just looking out the windows where we are, and I mean, it looks like a blizzard out here right now.
It's just we're in a little bit of a tunnel.
We're in a wind tunnel. We're between the parking ramp and this draft house, which is on the opposite side of the street. And it's just, sorry, Sal, I don't know where you are, but it is like swirling. I can't see across the street right now.
Well, Sal should get ready for swirling because the weather for Cleveland looks pretty windy. It's that time of year, of course.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract everyone.
What, if anything, about this game would worry you, Sal?
Just the Bills kind of not showing up with their A game, and that opens the door for a play here, a play there that doesn't go your way. I don't think the Browns are as good of a team as the Bills, of course, but it's football, and the Browns beat the Packers in Green Bay. You know why? Because they blocked a couple kicks, and they played good defense. They got a couple things to go their way, and at the end of the game, you're like, holy cow, what just happened? Happened to the Bills in Jacksonville a few years ago, right? You're like, well, you just couldn't get out of their own way. So those are the things that worry you about a game like this. It's the NFL, and all it takes is one or two mistakes that you make, and suddenly it's a new ball game. But otherwise, I mean, the Bills should take care of business over there.
Yeah, that's very much how I feel. I mean, anything can happen, and there's no accounting for if the team, if the Bills are not sharp or something. Like I can't predict that sitting here today, but it certainly could happen. Otherwise, Sal, I feel like if they're relatively buttoned up, I don't know what really should threaten them here. The Browns haven't been running it great. I like Judkins as a player, but I don't know that their line is much of a threat, so I don't feel like I'm expecting to get run over in this game. Although I guess, it could happen. The Bills have been leaky there, and if they miss a bunch of tackles, that's, again, not sharp, right? So it falls under that category. Sanders, I think, is pretty proficient and likes to push the ball down the field. But I feel like with the heater that McDermott and Babbage are on, like putting Drake May in a blender last week, they should be able to confuse Shedeur Sanders on Sunday, I think. I'd be really surprised if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that, and in that game, by the way, referencing that game, Packers and Browns was in Cleveland, right? In Cleveland.
Yes.
So special teams were a big deal in that game. Special teams are a big deal in that game. The Bills' special teams have been buttoned up. But all it takes is a play here, a play there, like I said. And if they get rolling there, and they do have a very good defense. So, look, Denzel Ward isn't playing. The Browns are without some key players in this game. So, they're also a team that I guess at this point in the year you could say evaluation mode, right? I saw the Chiefs list of guys who aren't going to play, and I'm like, man, they're in evaluation mode, which is crazy. But the Browns, they have guys that aren't playing in this game. One of them is Denzel Ward. I thought it was interesting today, Sean McDermott on with me on the Extra Point Show. He literally kind of, he gave a clue into that. Like, they're thinking about that. He said, yeah, they have a corner who might not play. Like, it's just something on top of mind because he's a really good player. Mm-hmm. He's out. Jack Conklin is out. Their offensive lineman with a concussion. David Njoku is out. So there's just, some injuries on that side of the ball as well where you think, come on, you just can't let this team get off the mat.
Yeah, the Browns are 30th in passing yards this season, offense. That's not surprising. First in passing yards allowed, though. The best. So
The Bills are number 2, I believe.
Here, like, maybe the Bills can just sort of function and get through this game without too much of a sweat. But we've had all our questions over the course of the season about the Bills and their passing offense and separation in these points. This is not going to be an easy test, at least on paper, for that.
No, I agree with that. This is a good Browns defense, guys. I mean, they get after the passer really well, but they do a lot of things well. If the Browns had a competent offense in any regard, they might be a decent football team this year. They just don't, and they haven't had a quarterback, and their quarterback makes mistakes, and they have a nice player at quarterback now who's young, and he's, a good athlete and has high accolades, but what is he? We don't know yet. And from a start of a game to the end of the game, he has not really put together much other than one game in Tennessee where he's pretty good, against Tennessee, I should say. So that's really what it is. And their offensive line is nothing what it used to be a few years ago. With this vaunted offensive line, it was regarded as maybe the best offensive line in the league. And heck, I just told you, Jack Conklin's out. Wyatt Teller is questionable for this game. He might not play in this game, former Bill. I mean, so yeah, if they had a halfway competent offense, Jerry Jeudy's had a tough year. He's dropping passes. The only thing, Fannin is really good. You mentioned him the other day when we talked about him. And Judkins is a nice player. Judkins is getting hit as soon as he touches the ball, basically. Like, they have nothing. They have really nothing on the offensive side to hang their hat on.
And you might have said it, but no Njoku in this game. Apologies if you did.
He did, yeah.
Okay. And Dylan Sampson, their other running back, rookie, is already ruled out. Judy.
Didn't you have this? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Didn't you have the stat yesterday? Like Judkins is like incredible proportion. Yards after contact is incredible, right? Like he's getting hit right away.
He has over 800 yards, and over 700 of them are after contact.
Right.
I believe.
Sorry,
if I remember the stat correctly, and it's not in front of me, but if I remember the stat correctly, here we go. 805 rushing yards, apparently, is what I'm reading here. 718 are after contact.
I was going to mention Judy. We talked to Darryl Ryder the other day. He blasted him. Just seems like, how he plays and then a bad attitude to go with it. Right. I don't want to say that like I know it, but enough people seem to have. Remember Steve Smith when it came to Judy?
Yes,
so,
right. Yeah.
He probably was a name here and there that came up in all our conversations for guys that we'd want the Bills to go get.
Speaking of going and getting guys, Sal, Matthew Judon. That came across that he was being waived a couple days ago, and I got to admit I didn't tweet anything, but I did the John Belushi one eyebrow up thing, I don't know, that might be worth a shot. So
John Belushi,
I'm kind of all right with. I'm glad that they claimed him. I mean, I don't know if it'll mean anything at all, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. They are still, aside from Bosa, rushing for, not getting home a lot. So I'm open to trying another guy.
Couple things. First of all, yeah, Belushi was great with the one eyebrow raise, right? He's the best. I mean, he's the poster child for that. You're right. Secondly, just to correct, he was not claimed by the Bills. He cleared waivers, and that means that he became a free agent. The Bills hosted him today on a visit. I'm told he has not signed yet, but obviously it appears as though that is the case, that the Bills are going to sign him. He was in for a tryout. I can confirm. I'm sorry, a visit, not a tryout. Those are different. I can confirm that. He has not signed yet, but apparently they'll be churning over something on their practice squad, and Matthew Judon will come in. So what does that mean? The reason why, by the way, it is different if you claim or you don't. If you claim a player off waivers, his contract goes to you. Like, you assume the rest of his contract. And he has to go right to your 53-man roster. If he clears waivers, which he did in this case, then you can sign him to any deal you want. He's a free agent. So he'll get signed to the Bills practice squad, apparently. And then from there, we'll see what he has left. I'll say, first of all, years ago, when Matthew Judon became a free agent before he went to New England, I was all about him. I thought the Bills could really use this guy. Like, I really love Matthew Judon when he was in Baltimore. Love his game. Goes to New England, still a good player. I don't think he's quite what he was in Baltimore towards the tail end of New England. Goes to Miami. Dolphins fans will tell you he hasn't had a very good year. I think injuries and age have caught up with him in a lot of regard. That said, he is the kind of versatile player the Bills have been searching for, especially since Michael Hoyt left. I am not telling you he's Michael Hoyt. That's not what I'm comparing him to, but I'm saying they need a guy. Remember, we've talked about who's going to play that role. They signed Morgan Fox. Javon Solomon is playing that role. A guy who can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. If you need to kick him inside in a passing situation, you can do that. That's Matthew Judon. That's what he is. That's what he does. So I think from that standpoint is why it fits. Now you got to bring him in and see what he's got left. Is it really something that you can use? And then if so, you could elevate him. You have 3 elevations through the regular season, and then after that, it's unlimited elevations, by the way, guys. I mean, Dane Jackson's out of them now, but once the playoffs come, they can put him up they can elevate him. You still only get 2 a week, per player, per team, 2 guys to do it per week. But we'll see. So from that standpoint, Sure. I mean, there's no harm there at all. We've seen guys come back in at an older age like Trey White, like Jordan Poyer, who've actually made an impact on this team.
Give a guy a chance to win. I mean, morale being what it might have been in Miami, maybe you get a new gear from a guy at this point of his career. You'd like to think so.
Definitely worth the dart throw, no question, in my opinion.
John Belushi. Here I thought I was taking a chance bringing up the Ronnie Harmon game.
The show sounded older.
Died 10 years before that. With Sal Capaccio Sal had your back on the Wester hotline. Sal, what a game last night. That 2-point play was kind of a shocker to see that call changed, and then overtime, Seattle game on the line. They go for the 2 and they get it. Some redemption for Darnold, a guy that we talked a lot about before the deadline, Rashid Shaheed, changed that game with that punt return, made a big play on offense later on. So there was a lot to see there, including that controversial reversal.
100%, I agree. And yeah, Rashid Shaheed, I mean, that punt return changes everything about the game. I mean, suddenly becomes a one-possession game because they get the 2-point conversion there. And then now, like, it's a one-possession game. All you need to do is get a stop. This is actually, by the way, a side note, this is why I like actually kicking an extra point to go down 8 instead of going for 2 to potentially down 7 because you miss, you're down 9. To me, you always make it a one-possession game because the game flows differently. I think that last night was a great example of that in a different way. But once it becomes a one-possession game, I just think the game is different. You play it different. There's just a little more pressure on the offense to have to move the ball. Right. And the defense, gets a little more aggressive. And I think that happened. And they get the ball back. And then they go down. And then they score. And then they go for 2. Okay, so here's my biggest issue last night. I understand the spirit of why they changed the rule years ago and said, look, it's a continuation and you pick up the ball and we'll award it to the team. You can't advance it. Here's the issue I have. Ever since you are a little kid, you are taught in every sport essentially, but especially football, you stop at the whistle. That's what the whistle is for. You're not hitting people after the whistle. You're not making plays after the whistle. When the whistle blows, you stop. And I just think it's such a terrible precedent to have a sport that is so violent to say it's okay to do things after the whistle. So I get it. You're going to get bad inadvertent whistles that shouldn't blow at times. That's the human element. It really sucks. But I mean, what about in hockey? What about in basketball? Are we doing things after the whistle? The whistle stops the play. To me, the whistle should always stop the play, period.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't need the whistle anymore, I guess. You don't need the refs anymore.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? It's another one of these deals where, Sal, I don't know. Should I believe that the next time a play like that happens, that SkyRef will choose to intervene? It sometimes feels random. And I think if I'm a Rams observer today, I think the whistle point is a good one too, because don't we still have whistle blew it dead, therefore the ball's dead,
right.
No fumble recovery, that kind of thing.
Well, let me before you go on, let me say this. Let me ask you this: for anybody, I got a lot of pushback on that today because I tweeted that we teach kids at the lowest basic of levels. The basic tenet of football is to stop at the whistle, right? Even if a guy is standing around before the whistle, we'd call that when we were kids, we'd have a turkey shot. If he's standing around, the whistle hasn't blown, you hit him because he's standing around like a turkey. So you call it a turkey shot. Even that's frowned upon now. But I'm telling you, after the whistle, you don't touch people. You don't do it. So anybody who says, well, it's continuation and all that, what if someone would have blasted Zach Charbonnet for going for that ball? And then are we going to sit here and say, oh, no, that's totally cool because after the whistle, there's a ball sitting there?
Right, 100%. There's a personal foul penalty there.
That's right.
There's a flag in the air for sure. And maybe if they'd done that, the review never happens. They just get penalized on the kickoff or something. I don't know.
We needed Mike Curtis. I'll take my turn going back 50 years.
Yeah, all of this
to blow them up.
I just always I try to remind fans as best I can. Just keep your eyes open. This could happen, maybe will happen to the Bills. In some way, shape, or form. I know Jeremy last night was tweeting the way, or maybe it was this morning. The way the Rams, all the stuff that kind of went sideways. You're like, why did that happen? Why did that happen? The field goal they missed late looked like it was going through, but it didn't go through. What happened there? This review, all of it. It's a weird outcome. And that, even with all the sky refs and all the King's men and the King's horses, you still get these outcomes that you're just, how did that happen? Should that be fair, allowed? Like, it's tough.
Yeah, I know. And then, the Sky Ref coming in and changing it. There was no challenge on the play. So you guys talked about the fourth down stuff earlier, and that's a great point, right? Like, the holy roller changes everything, where now the rule is everybody should know by now, if it's fourth down or inside 2 minutes, if the ball is fumbled forward, only the guy who fumbled it can pick it up. Well, that actually does apply to two-point conversion plays. So why did it apply here? Because it's not considered a traditional fumble. It's just considered a backward pass, lateral, that went forward after that. So
now,
there's a lot of stuff to digest about this.
There's always one more thing they make you need to know. Now, if that's not a fumble because it was not a traditional fumble. I mean, it never ends. There's always something else you need to know. And guess what? After all these countless changes and the technology and everything else, we still talk about this league the same way as we ever did, which is all about the mistakes and confusion. I mean, it's not all about that, and we love it, but still, somebody. You need to remind people every once in a while that all these advents, replay, and moon ref and everything doesn't work well enough. It doesn't get you to results that often enough are clean, if you will.
Traditional fumble, fumble.
It never will. It never will, because there's always so much within a game that isn't called, and it's subjective and how it's interpreted. And we're not using technology for everything, thank goodness. Maybe we end up there. It seems like maybe we are now. Maybe anything can be reviewed, or just it makes you kind of crazy. Seattle did go for 2 after the Shaheed. They were down
16.
It was 30-20.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the punt return, so they needed 2 twos.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
They got them both. Seattle needed.
By
both
the way, and then
pointers.
in the 2-point conversion to win the game. I mean, the 2-point conversion to win the game. That was a great play. What a great play design. I love that. Like, that was great by Seattle to do that, and in the end zone there. But yeah, you're right. And I mean, I don't know if you're referring to what I was talking about before, but in a different situation, like we had this debate in the Bears-Eagles game a few weeks ago, where the Eagles scored, which put them down 9, and there was debate: should they go and kick it to go down 8, or should they go for 2 to go down 7? And well, the more information you have, so you should go for 7, go for 2 early. I disagree with that. I think you make it a 1-possession game. I just think the game flows totally different after that, because you're not guaranteed. You're much more likely to get the 1 than the 2, obviously.
Sal, thanks. Enjoy your trip.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
That's our man Sal Capaccio on the Wester Hotline. His appearances are always brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Are you watching much of this bowl game that's on here? Every play is a fumble.
Really.
It just looks like every time I look at it, the ball is right. It's this. It's just bouncing crazily, and hopefully they're not having too much stress over whatever these calls have been made or whatever replay.
I don't know.
The role replay is played in this one. NC State 31, Memphis 7. 11 minutes to go. We are at the draft room in Buffalo today. Stop by for a chance to win a Josh Allen jersey. No purchase necessary. Brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Here for your calls next. If you've got them, 803-0550. We overlooking the Browns, the AFC playoff picture. We talked to Mike Dempsey earlier from Jacksonville. What does Jacksonville seem like as a potential AFC playoff opponent? Jags Broncos Sunday in Denver will be a pivotal game in the playoff race. Back after this timeout, it's Football Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on WGR.
Bills at Browns this Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff. 3 players for the Bills have been ruled out. Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt. Lunt, by the way, has also been placed on IR, while just Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. Hardman, of course, making his way back from injured reserve. There is no other game day designations, though, heading into Sunday, which means Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford should all be good to go for Sunday. In the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help? Call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pregame on Sunday gets underway at 7 a.m. and will carry all the way to kickoff at 1, where we'll then hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. There's also some other Bills news not relating to Sunday. Ian Rappaport is reporting the team hosted edge rusher Matt Judon. He is expected to sign to the practice squad, but nothing official as of yet. And Wyoming has tweeted out that defensive assistant and offensive advisor for the Bills, Christian Taylor, is going to be leaving the organization at the end of the season to become Wyoming's offensive coordinator and QB coach. To the Sabres, they are on a 4-game win streak. They are off today, however, but have a weekend back-to-back tomorrow. They host the Islanders at 5. Then on Sunday, it's at New Jersey just after 7. And then coming up tonight, the college football playoff gets underway. Just one game, though, on the schedule tonight. Oklahoma hosting Alabama just after 8. Tomorrow is the rest of the first round. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. And then at 7:30 to round out your night, James Madison at Oregon. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, challenged him in the offseason and said it to us. He pulled out the old Spider-Man line, with great power comes great responsibility. Well, with a great contract comes the responsibility that you come out and have a career year. Well, I think it's fair to say that Myles Garrett has had a career year. And if he's able to take Josh Allen down just once on Sunday, he will make history as the all-time single-season sack king. Him and Shedeur Sanders are the 2 reasons to watch Cleveland Browns football. If those 2 players were not on this team, I would tell someone to go do something else with their Sunday afternoon.
I mean, you could arguably still do that with Garrett and Shedeur Sanders. I'm curious to see Sanders. I haven't seen him at all, other than, highlights, and he had the one really good game, statistically at least, and then others not as good. But
yep.
In my mind, he's kind of easily dismissed as a franchise quarterback. I mean, late draft pick and all kinds of scrutiny about the guy, even off the field. So I haven't really taken seriously the possibility that he could actually make it there. But maybe there still is that. This, dare I say it, this would be a win.
A great game today would go a long ways. Sure, yeah. Didn't you see that Buffalo game? Right? I could hear that. Garrett can tie the record with 1 sack, by the way, just to – Daryl said make it. I mean, he's at 21.5. The record is 22.5. So ties it with 1. Another half would set the record.
Is there any, certain dynamic about that we should be thinking about or talking about? Like, I mean, of course you want to block him. Everybody's going to do that anyway. I mean, you're doing your best there. Teams don't want records set against them. So you might have, because he's 1 away.
I would bet the offensive line very much. Cromer, even McDermott, whatever, but certainly within the line, if it doesn't extend any further than that. Those guys don't want this. They do not want to have, Dawkins or Brown or anyone, right? I mean, Garrett's coming from wherever he wants. Nobody wants to be the guy on the poster, So I would think that that's a point of emphasis. Whether they can do it or not remains to be seen.
There's Allen in this, too.
Right. I have, the one thought I had, I just said it quickly in passing earlier. Maybe even Brett Favre it. Let him get it. Let him get it, and then maybe the whole whole team will just go to sleep, especially him. he gets the right, like, all right, well, that's done, and then just go. I think I said it exactly that way. Let him get the record and then go beat the Browns by 20. I'm mostly kidding, but there's a little morsel of seriousness, because I think that there would be a letdown after that for them, and maybe even for him. Like, I got this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they even pull him out of the game if he gets a record. I mean, I don't know. Probably not.
No, go for 30.
He'd probably want to keep playing, set an unreachable mark, that no one else can ever clear. But, yeah, I mean, I back to the beginning, I'll leave the silliness about letting him get it early. I would bet Deion Dawkins and those guys are hell-bent on trying to avoid it. I mean, good luck. The guy, I've seen some highlights of him this year, and there was one rush where he did a jump cut like a running back. I mean, the man is 6'5", almost 300 pounds, and he's like coming in at a guard and just like, whoop! Like, how in the world do you do that at that size? I mean, he is really a tremendous athlete.
I've said it many times. I think of a certain game that I was at for this years ago. It's one of the most compelling things about watching the NFL is when you have the great pass rusher against the big quarterback, like exactly what Allen is. And that duel there, I wonder what Allen might be thinking about it. I mean, he might actually be the guy on the poster being brought down for the record. Is he just going to throw the ball away? I mean, the job is to win. But I think maybe he can be distracted by this because it's what a lot of people are talking about with the Browns and this player. But you'll know the game. It's Cam Newton and Mario Williams. Of
course, yeah. I was sitting next to watching it.
Second reference of Mario Williams today. He's doing well. But didn't he get him a bunch of times in that game? And watching Newton try to avoid him, which he was often able to do, was a sight to see. I mean, the game within the game there.
I don't remember a bunch, maybe 12.
Okay.
But I need to look at the box.
Watching, like, Newton trying to get away and Williams, who was fast for his size, too. I mean, trying to get him down was, compelling is my word for it. Just really interesting to see that kind of battle. And that's on the table here in this game, quintessentially, whether there's a record or not, to see whether Garrett, I don't know, might love to do this against Josh Allen, of all players.
Holy cow, Mike.
5 sacks?
4.5 sacks for Mario Williams on that day. The Bills as a team had 6 of Cam Newton, but 4.5. So that's a bunch. That is, holy cow, that's a lot of sacks in a game. I don't know. I'm not Mr. Pro Football Reference. Like, how quickly could you access the Bills' single game sack record?
Oh.
Like 4.5 is. God.
Well, you'd want it to be Bruce, right?
Right, but man, 4.5 sacks is a lot of sacks. Derek Thomas is 7.
I think so. NFL record.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody in Bills history has more than 4.5 in a single game.
We will find out.
Possible, but yeah.
It'll take me a minute, but somebody might just tell us.
Yep.
And then you have to decide whether you believe them.
That'll be fun. Right.
I mean, that could be the record. Bryce Popp might have come close in his NFL defensive MVP season, or defensive player of the year, was it? In that 95? He might have had a game or two that approached that.
I just put Bills single game sack record into my search engine, and it comes up with that game. Mario 4.5 against Carolina.
All right.
In 2013.
Well, the Bills run plenty of extra tight end personnel. And, I mean, it seems pretty simple, but this is a player where you might really want to do that.
Right.
And I saw last night that the Rams played some crazy percentage of their snaps with 3 tight ends on the field, 13. One is for the number of running backs, and the second digit is for the number of tight ends, and like crazy percentage of plays. And they racked up like 570 yards or something in the game too, with 3 tight ends. So the Bills do their share of it. I don't know if it's like near the top of the league, but you certainly see it from them. We will watch on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's been I don't know about quite a bit. I think Kincaid's health has put a dent in that. I think you're going to see plenty, and have seen plenty of Hawes and Knox together. I feel like Kincaid is out there, and it's very rarely, I think, anymore, let's use the 3 tight ends and we'll pass out of it. I feel like they're using Kincaid in passing situations in more traditional passing formations, but I'm not positive of that. It just stands to reason. You're not going to use the guy to look like he's going to block or anything, just as a decoy even. Like, his snaps are so precious right now. So I think if he hadn't been hurt like he has been for so much of this season, boy, the way they started the year, that was their calling card. It was the 3 tight ends and passing out of it and Hawes, and what a story it was. And I think Kincaid's health has really impacted it.
Sure. We'll take a break here from the draft room downtown. Football Friday. We'll bounce around the league a little bit, look at the playoff picture some more when we return. 803-0550 is our number. We'll have picks coming up in 20 minutes. Happy holidays. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. mean, we're in a restaurant. And it's dinner time.
Did you think,
Sorry.
like I thought just now, honest to God, I just looked at my phone. I thought it was already the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah?
Which is a longer break with an update. And usually when we're on a remote like this, the headphones are lying on the table. I'm sitting right here, and I can usually hear, and I'll hear Zach doing the update, and I know, like, okay, we're close to coming back. But just now I looked at my phone and went, oh, it's not. Oh, there's music playing.
It's not time yet.
He's waiting for us to be talking. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and I'm eating.
It wasn't like I was right here.
I was not confused by the time.
I was.
I have to say.
I'm admitting I was confused about the time.
You're excited about the rest of the night? You want to get to it?
That's probably what it is, yes. Very much.
No, we have not driven around the league yet, though.
No, that's right. There's the telltale.
Our drive around the league is brought to you by Mike Barney Nissan. Awesome cars, great dealership, lousy jingle. We talked Jacksonville, Denver a little bit. That's an interesting possible playoff preview. Who knows how it's going to fall, but two playoff-bound teams almost definitely. Chargers at Dallas this weekend. That game is in my picks plan.
Oh, me too.
I don't know how seriously I want to take LA. So they did win in Kansas City, and they were underdogs. But is that really good? They swept them. It's pretty good. They also have beaten Denver. It's a long time ago. They'll play them again.
Yeah.
So I want to say somewhat quietly, they're sitting at 10-4.
Yeah.
And this would probably not be a team the Bills would face, at least in the first round.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe eventually.
Yeah, I mean, the scenario that I'm most fond of mentioning where the 5, 6, and 7 all win in wild card weekend, depending on where the seeds end up. But I mean, I think it changed once LA jumped ahead of the Bills. But if the Bills were to get to the 5, you might be playing the Chargers in the divisional round at home if the upsets all happen. So yeah, I mean they are potentially in our hair. I feel like it's just field goals. They just do not. But the defense, the last time I watched them, looked really pretty impressive. Getting after the quarterback, they might, and maybe that's how they're winning. Maybe it's one of the Houston is like this. Jacksonville's scoring a lot of points, but their defense has been pretty stout too. Maybe these teams that are contending here and are potential playoff teams are driven by defense. And the Bills are not that team at all. I mean, they are not. They had a defensive head coach, and they've had an excellent defense many years, but this is not one of those years. At least as far as the run defense goes. Pass defense has still been excellent. I think right second in the league. The Chargers sort of fall into a category of like, okay, tell me when you actually really do something.
I know. Well,
right, and what you hope is that that's not them kicking you in the teeth.
But that's
like, how's that? I did a thing. Look, you're bleeding.
It might be half the playoff teams this year.
Yeah.
Though.
Right.
Even the Bills, that can be said about.
Sure. They've done
more.
They've done a thing. They've done. They've won games every year, but in the playoffs. But yeah, they're not made. They haven't gotten all the way there yet.
If it's this playoff picture that we have now, can Buffalo do it? Is maybe the best storyline of the playoffs. Every team's got their own, but that is what fans want to see happen. Find out if they can get there when Mahomes isn't in the tournament. So there's that. But L.A. and the field goals point reminds me of a friend of ours who lost I won't say how much money league out of respect for him in that game against Philadelphia where Cameron Dicker tied it with like 8 seconds to go, sent it to overtime, then he kicked another field goal, and they won on an interception. He had 5. The kicker beat our buddy by like less than a point, and that's one of the worst ways to go.
Yeah, that is tough.
Don't fret too much if you're going against Puka this week. Last week I had Kyle Pitts on a team and lost. That was 50.
Yeah, right.
Puka's in the 40s. Just an incredible performance from him last night. That guy, we were talking about favorite receivers to watch a day or two ago.
Yep.
Put him on that list. That guy, just a beast. Open, hands,
Run
size,
after catch. Yeah.
all of it. I mean, he catches that pass in overtime, it's over. Like that, not the game, but the play.
Right.
Just what a player he is. Out of the Saturday draft pile just a couple of years ago. From,
he did get
BYU.
caught. He got caught earlier on a somewhat long one in the middle of the field. I don't know who it was that caught up to him. Maybe it was Emin Worry. I don't remember. But somebody ran him down.
Yep.
On a play earlier.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that on Twitter today, how he could have had way more last night than he had. Over 220, I think, in the game.
Was there any word on him, by the way? Emin Worry left that game, and I was sort of dozing in and out and whatever. I saw him down for a while and then walking off with trainers going to the locker room. I'm just because that's a defensive rookie of the year candidate for sure. Like him and the Cleveland guy, Schlesinger, might be the two. And you know how much I was crushing on Emin Worry in the draft. I mean, I just loved that idea. And boy, did he end up in the right spot, right? Yeah. I mean, Mike McDonald sort of invented Kyle Hamilton, and now he's the head coach in Seattle, and he's no surprise. He targeted this guy and is using him just like that. I mean, he is a jack of all trades. I love that player.
Apparently, his head coach said last night he could have gone back in.
Okay.
But they didn't
go back. Doesn't sound serious,
defense.
So good for them.
Picks coming up after the update here on WGR.
Bills at Browns this Sunday at 1 p.m. 3 players for the Bills have been ruled out. Jordan Phillips, Matt Prater, and Chase Lunt. Also should be noted for Lunt, he is heading to IR, while Cam Lewis and McCole Hardman are questionable. Hardman is, of course, making his way back from IR. Those, though, are the only game day designations, which does mean Deion Dawkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Christian Benford should be all set for Sunday. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. Pre-game on Sunday will get underway bright and early at 7 a.m., and we'll carry you all the way to kickoff at 1, where we'll then hand things off to Chris Brown, Eric Wood, and Sal Capaccio, who will be on the call from the Northwest Bank broadcast booth. Some other notes for the Bills. Ian Rappaport is reporting the team did host edge rusher Matt Judon earlier today. They are expected to sign him to the practice squad, but nothing official as of yet. And defensive assistant / offensive advisor Christian Taylor is set to leave the Bills at the end of the season to become Wyoming's offensive coordinator and QB coach. To the Sabres. They are off today, though they do sit with a 4-game win streak. They do, though, have a weekend back-to-back. Tomorrow, they are hosting the Islanders at 5. Then on Sunday, they are at New Jersey. That game will get going just after 7. Tonight, the college football playoff does get underway. However, just one game. It's Oklahoma hosting Alabama just after 8. Tomorrow is the rest of the first round. Miami at Texas A&M at noon. Ole Miss hosting Tulane at 3:30. Then your night's going to wrap up at 7:30. James Madison at Oregon. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Thursday, today, yeah, it's Friday.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
We so excited, we gonna have a ball today. Tomorrow is Saturday.
I'm itching inside. My liver's all twisted up. But you know what I did? I took Deborah, went to the liquor store, I loaded up with alcohol, more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Know anything about him?
No.
Okay.
No. I think he had a good game last time out, I think.
Okay.
Is all I can tell you.
Well, he's taken anyway.
All right. Well, there you go.
That's the kind of league I play in.
Moot point.
Brandon Boosie is already owned.
Yeah.
You have Puka on your teams? Did you get off to that 40-point lead last night?
No. I had Shaheed and the Seattle kicker, who's been a monster. I mean, 6 field goals last week.
Oh, you ran into the.
But I ran into nothing.
2-point
I got
problem.
2 points, 3 from Shaheed. Don't get the credit for the return touchdown. No, and we were playing against Parkinson, who had 4 himself. Yep. So like 5-4 is our score after last night. But
after that game,
I burned 2 guys. Yeah, tough.
Sal was talking about 2-point strategy. Seattle was down 16.
Right.
When the punt return happened, and they were going to go for 2.
Right.
Both times, and they did, and they were successful.
It was more than halfway into the fourth quarter.
Yep.
For sure.
Then in overtime, Ty didn't help them in the standings really. So go for 2, go for the win, and they get it.
Right. They'd already lost to the Rams, so right.
They needed the win, but I disagree with Sal about a couple of different times he said, and he seemed to know that he might be contrarian when it comes to the numbers himself on this, but I think the overriding axiom when it comes to that topic is you got to find out as early as possible what you're going to need later. So his point was, if I am not wrong, get me to 8. If I'm down 9, that was not the case last night. They were down 10.
Get me to a one-score game as soon as I can. So kick the extra point.
That would be his overriding
If you're down
take,
15, right? That's like 16, obviously you're going for 2 both times.
Get me to the fewest possessions possible for me to catch up.
Right.
You don't win. Well, that wasn't the case either last night. You're playing to catch up, get even.
Right.
The Seahawks last night, but they all say if you don't go for it now, you're going to have to go for it later. And the sooner you can find out what you need for the rest of the game. I mean, he's saying how I respect it. Like it can change the complexion of the game.
Yeah, I do like that point. I mean, I think I still would end up at like going for 2 down 15 or get the touchdown, whatever. Make it 7 as soon as I can. But I do like the point about if you miss it and it's 9, the opposing offense is still probably pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
but if it's 8 and you can get caught on one possession, I think you could get tense. It could change how the coach calls plays, all that. Like there's it's not nothing. I don't know that it would outweigh, like if this were a Bills game and they're down 15, I think I'm going to want them to go for 2 when they score and make it a 7-point game as quickly as they can. But I do like the point about the 8-point game and now it's one possession. And yeah, I mean, that is assuming you're going to get the 2-point the second time around. But I do think the opposing offense could get a little tight there. Like just trying to run some clock. Just want to get out of this.
I might want my opponent to be relaxed because they're not going to go for it on 4th down. They're protecting a 9-point lead instead of potentially an 8-point lead or 7. Like then the pressure is 1 point that you're making, but they might feel like the game is over a little bit by play calling. I'm not thinking players.
Yeah, right.
You're
right. If it's 8.
Gotta go.
Right, but if it's 9, you probably might punt sooner.
Yep.
The 3 and out is maybe more likely in the window in a situation like that because you're like, they got to score twice. Obviously the clock matters to all of this too.
What would make it a lot easier is if the world just got to a place where teams only ever went for 2 on every opportunity. They just always did it. But I'm a little bit serious about that. I'm not sure I'm half serious about it. I love 8-0. I've said that a long time. There was a Bills game against Cincinnati at home, and either because of a penalty or they just did it. I think probably because of a penalty when they scored the game's first touchdown.
They get to the 1, and you're right. Yeah.
And made it 8-0, and that's just the best. Such a boss score. I go up 8-0 first drive of the game. You get the ball next and score a touchdown. What do you do? Oh, we don't want to chase points. Okay. So we both did the same thing, but I'm winning. Got to make it.
Right.
Easy to say. All right, Friday night. Let's get to picks.
And what if I did do it? Even though I admit to nothing and never will. What does that make me? And I'm not here just defending myself, but all those pickers out there who've been caught. Each and every one of them. Who has to suffer the shame and humiliation because of people like you.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Are we not human? If we pick, do we not bleed?
On WGR.
I am not an animal.
Sports Radio 550.
Just now sitting here wondering whether or not I could simulate the sound of footsteps. So people could hear it. Are you hearing any footsteps?
Oh, I see. You're getting
are there any? Are you hearing any? I'm not a movie special effects person, so I don't know if I can simulate it with my hands on this table. I'm not even going to try. But I'm closing a little. I had 5-0 week before, 4-1 this week. Last night was a push for us, so
I'll take it.
You are, yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, I thought I was made when I started sort of dozing off last night. I did see ultimately the tying play and all that, but I thought I'm all set, 30-14. The Rams are killing them. Anyway, the lead is down to 5.5.
Okay.
At this point, you are an excellent 48-35-4. I'm going to go with I'm a respectable 43-42-3.
Sure.
I was way under that for most of the year, but these last couple of weeks have gotten me back to at least some version of level. So I'm feeling all right.
Very good. And I have to go first.
You do. You're still in
onus
front. You are still in front.
Is on the leader.
Despite the footsteps.
All right. Last week I should get maybe an
footsteps.
extra win or something because I knew I'd do badly. I did predict that. I didn't predict as many games right, but I did correctly predict that I would have a tough week in the picks. And 2 and 3, it gets worse. Hopefully not this time. All right, pick one. I'm going back to the Packers. This is tomorrow night at the Bears. Green Bay, they were one of my picks last week in Denver. And great game. I guess I just have to say tip your cap to Bo Nix and to Denver because Packers I thought were good in the game. Did not expect Denver's offense to be as prolific as it was. Different receivers, too, and they really did a great job there. So I like to go against recent events. Maybe the market shows an overreaction to it. I'll go with Green Bay at the Bears. The Packers beat the Bears in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. It was good. It was close. I think the Bears are okay, but I like the Packers more. They've kind of owned that rivalry, if that means anything anymore. Ben Johnson's doing a great job for Chicago. I like LaFleur and Jordan Love here in this spot. Likewise, to the point about last week's Packers-Denver game, I'll take Jacksonville plus 3.5 in Denver. I just don't know if that's repeatable, how they played there, how Knicks played there. And what slows me down a little bit on this is Jacksonville maybe has become obvious. That are we all moving on as a society to a world where like Jacksonville's good and they go to play the team with the best record in the NFL and can cover a pretty low number? I'm going to guess yes to that. Defense travels. Lawrence is listen to this. I mean, I'm going with Trevor Lawrence in Denver. But, he's put up some huge numbers lately. So that's why. Pick 3, Buster, the Giants. Minus 2.5 at home against Minnesota. I learned this lesson the hard way losing on the Vikings-Dallas game last week. But Minnesota on defense with Flores can be disruptive. And this is Jackson Dart on the other side. But Buster theory, Minnesota a primetime win in Dallas. The Giants a home loss to Washington. Punt return had a lot to do with that outcome. Going with the Giants to cover 2.5.
I've got the Giants getting 2.5.
Plus 2.5.
Right.
Even better.
Okay.
I just miswrote it.
Yep.
I'm not looking at the app right now. I'm looking at
this might clue you into
beer.
the fact that I'm on the Vikings.
Are you? Yeah, then you would know this.
Right.
All right, I'll take 2.5. That's a very sudden 5-point swing in my favor.
It's a very nice outcome for you.
Great.
Whatever. If I didn't say it now, it would have come out when I said Vikings minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'll probably go looking as soon as I'm done talking. Dallas minus 2.5, or are they? Favorite?
Yes.
Minus 2.5 home to the Chargers. I don't really trust the Chargers, and I still think Dallas on offense is good enough to, score on maybe anybody. Very weird what has happened to George Pickens. In the midst of an amazing season, in line for huge money, seemed to be like the perfect situation there. Now you have the last couple of weeks, all these clips where it looks like he can't be bothered to compete. What is going on with him? Hopefully that changes this week if I'm going to win this. Dallas minus 2.5 against L.A. Still don't really know what the Chargers offense is. I mean, they're still using Dahl a lot with Omarion Hampton, different receivers, and the injuries up front at the tackles could be, there always can be a problem. So Cowboys, and then you gave me the option of picking a college game because that's what we usually do, but it also usually gets to the time of year where there aren't college games anymore. It's bowl games. Now you've got the bigger playoff, though, again, and more options. I'll take Oklahoma tonight against Alabama minus 1.5.
Now that game is going to have to be on in the living room.
Yes, I'll be completely preoccupied.
We'll get together tonight. All right, well, this is horrendous process, but I have had to flip. I'm just flipping. I can't find another game I like. I like Dallas with the Chargers, so I'm going to get off of that. I'm not flipping that game. I'm going to put the Ravens in there. I'm going to take the Ravens -2.5 hosting New England. I think New England could be a little. I don't know. Did Sammy make this point with us back in the 3 o'clock hour? Like they had the the T-shirts and the hats and like they're the kingpin of the AFCs. They had them not on they had them on the ropes hard. 21-0, 24-3 or 24-7 at halftime, and blew it. I could see that lingering, and they've still got wiggle room, New England, and a soft landing at the end here with the Jets and the Dolphins. So I'll trust Lamar and the Ravens here. Boy, I can't believe I just said that with the way that's gone. But he's been looking better. At least he looked better. He looked more like himself last week anyway, Lamar. So I will take that. The game I'm switching horrible. I like Jacksonville too, but I'm going to take Denver.
All right.
-3.5 just because I still have ground to make up. I can't live just matching you here. So I'll flip that one around and trust the home team there. So that's where I'm going to do there. I also go against you on the Vikings-Giants game. I like Minnesota -2.5 at the Giants. To me, it is really the defense for Minnesota. I would think that they could mess up Dart at least enough. Did he not get evaluated for another concussion last week? I thought I saw during the games in their window that he again had to go into the tent. Like, that has got to stop. There was a lot said when Dayball got fired that ownership was like, designed runs, cut it out. Like, you were killing this kid. And I don't know if that's, had the brakes put on it, the designed runs, but I thought I read that he had another scare with a head injury last week. Anyway, I'll take Minnesota -2.5. I'm buying the J.J. McCarthy late season redemption arc, I guess. I'll take the Lions -6.5 hosting Pittsburgh. They had a tough time with Detroit this year. I mean, they're on the outside looking in right now, but I would think that they should be able to do almost anything they want against Pittsburgh.
7, is it?
6.5 is what I saw earlier, but if you want to look if it changed, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll honor that if it did change. I just cannot imagine. They hand the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs 25 times. You're going to cruise, I think, against Pittsburgh. And I'll take the Bills and the big number, the 10.5. I like that Sam mentioned, again, second reference to Sam in this segment, that wise guys were 9.5 and 10. And it's another half point. It's a big half point. I just don't think the Browns. 2 interceptions and a strip sack from Shedeur Sanders. I think McDermott and Babbage will have him in a blender in this game. I just cannot foresee that going well for him. So holds the ball, too. That's where the strip sack comes in. Not that the Bills' pass rush is so great or anything, but I like Buffalo big. So I'll lay the 10.5 there.
I'll just say again, anybody can run on this Bills defense. And it's a little bit obvious, but a team like the Browns with that quarterback as an underdog, that should be their top priority. Not that they're a great running team, but the Bills have given up these huge plays, even last week a couple of times to Henderson, and they got the win anyway. I think it may be just super obvious to think the Browns would try to get that done in this game. Good luck. Nobody has played NHL 94 since you today up there.
I know, so sad.
It's still sitting there on Hartford, Los Angeles, just crying out for action.
And it's not like people, I mean, maybe if you're sitting here at the bar and there's something blocking your view, you might not know. Or just sitting here looking at the screen, you might think, oh, that's a weird screen to have up. Maybe it's just a screensaver. But if you walk past the table, which is right in line with on the way to the restrooms, you're going to see the controllers and the console sitting out there inviting you to pick them up and play. So I don't know what these people are doing.
Begging you.
Just come on, people.
Hartford and Los Angeles. What a great rivalry that's been lost to time.
The ages.
Yeah. Hartford and Los Angeles. Yeah. Let's change the teams and see if that won't draw people up there.
Begging over there. Resume
Put
game.
Buffalo
it's like resume game. Come on.
Put the Sabres up. I watched NHL 94 on my computer today and saw the Sabres win the cup.
Yeah.
5-0 over Chicago at home.
What a day it was here at the arena.
What a day it was. Who will forget it?
The celebration spilling out into the swirling snow-filled streets.
Grant Fuhr, the shutout, to win the cup on EA Sports NHL 94. You had to be here. As we talked about earlier, after the day started and this game is up here on a screen at the draft room, that on YouTube you can find a 4-hour, 40-minute compilation of EA Sports NHL 94 where each team wins the cup. I think alphabetically they run them down. And I admit I was kind of drawn in.
4 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah. I think that was it.
It's
long.
That is amazing.
It's only like the winning game for each team.
Right.
But played out.
And they go those games go pretty quick.
They do. How else can you have lives like we used to lead, where you'd play all the time and just complete seasons and all of that? I mean, they couldn't play it at real speed.
That game coming on the heels of Super Tecmo Bowl by like a couple of years, I think, dominated my 20s. Dominated, like, my life. Like, I can remember being on the phone with a girlfriend and like my buddy is like in my room setting the game up. I'm like, I don't feel real good.
Gotta go.
I don't know.
Gotta go,
I
honey.
don't think I'm gonna make it tonight. And then like 8 hours of NHL 93. No wonder we broke up.
Well, I mean, who could blame anybody involved in that?
Right. Either side
equation.
is justified. Right. She'd be justified in breaking up with me. I was justified in wanting to play NHL 93. Have you seen this game?
For 8 hours.
Right.
Yep, I was there. I know. Lived it as well. Mike Dempsey joined us earlier today from Jacksonville to talk about the Jaguars' excellent season and some fantasy stuff from Mike, who was with Football Diehards. That's coming up next. We will be back in a snap. This break brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.